Avalon Unfiltered, bitch.
Well, hello, everybody. Welcome, and happy Friday. It's your boy, Chris Avalon, and welcome to a brand new episode of Chris Avalon Unfiltered, a show where we basically talk about all the things going on in celebrity news, hot topics, whatever is trending on these good old internet streets regarding what's going on in pop culture and entertainment. We talk about it on this good old show. So, before we get started with today's show, can you please do me a solid and hit that like button and that subscribe button, and also be sure to smash that notification button so that way you know when we go live with a brand new episode of Chris Avalon Unfiltered. Chill, I got a whole lot of stuff on this desk. I'm like, I'm gonna tap these good old lips. We got a lot of tea to get into. Including, we got to talk about my review of Terrifier 3. I ain't going to do no spoilers if y'all haven't seen it yet, so don't worry about that. But I'm definitely going to give you my overall thoughts on it. We got to talk about Henry Cavill, who's set to star in the new Voltron movie over at Amazon MGM. We got a new cast member added to I Know What You Did Last Summer requel. Diddy Combs has finally got a set date for his upcoming trial, so we're going to break that down. Plus, Radar Online did an article regarding the secret rules into Diddy's Eyes Wide Shut style freak off parties and that whole sort of thing, including, masks for the gay hookers. What are you doing? Trump hotel bookings and white nail polish varnish, or white nail varnish, whatever the hell that means. But we'll talk about it. Plus, Diddy's friends, Ashton Kutcher and Mila apparently have been blacklisted from Hollywood. This is according to the rumors in regards of because there's ties to Diddy and I guess there are ties to Danny Masterson. So that's strike two on that part. So we're going to talk about that. Plus, we're going to talk about this downfall, this mess that is going on with the Katy Perry 143 era, because apparently there's a story that came out that she's blaming her baby daddy because he ain't her husband. I don't know why people keep... It's funny how the media, y'all like to, when it come to black people, y'all want to refer to people as baby mamas and things. She's a baby mama her damn self. Because if Orlando Bloom and her been engaged for a minute and he ain't walked her ass down the aisle, then she's a baby mama. So apparently she's been listening to Orlando Bloom in regards of planning her comeback. We got to talk about these rumors regarding Lady Gaga in regards of how she's planning this massive LG7 era rollout situation, and then after that, once she releases that and a rumored greatest hits album, which is going to be called the Legacy of Lady Gaga, how she's going to be taking an extensive break because she wants to start a family with her new man who she's engaged to. So we're going to talk about that. Plus, apparently, word on the curb is the Woman in Me biopic has been put on hold. It's been a slow rollout. Britney is hurting for cash. So we're going to talk about that rumor that's floating around. Plus, this rumor regarding her family is not liking the fact that she's been hanging out with this poor Soliz guy that she's been on again, off again with, and how they feel like he's a detriment to her, whatever, I guess, her mental health. But child, they ain't need Paul Soliz did it for us to kind of come to the announcement that Miss Mama's is 5150. But so we're gonna talk about that. Plus, speaking of marriages and relationships and things on the rocks, we're gonna talk about Justin Timberlake, because there was a story that came out apparently that he said he had to postpone that New Jersey leg of his tour, that New Jersey stop on his tour. Well, apparently they saying what had happened was that apparently Jessica Biel is going in on his behind because he was apparently with another woman the night of the DUI. So we got to talk about that. Plus, Rosie O'Donnell's open about her friendship with Madonna. That's how we say her name over here. And child, Gen Z is trying to cancel Rocky Horror. So we got to talk about that and a whole lot more. So if you have not already, like I stated earlier in the show, please hit the like button and that subscribe button. Also smash the notification button so that way you know when we go live with a brand new episode of Chris Avalon Unfiltered. Hit my banner. Let's see who's in the comments. Anna says, watching you on my last day being because your birthday is coming up. I haven't listened to the full album yet. I did listen to Sympathy as a Knife remix with Ariana Grande. So I'll respond to that. But I'm definitely going to listen to the album this weekend. Maybe the next time when I do a show, I'll give you a full assessment. But in regards of the Sympathy as a Knife song, I felt like Ariana wasn't needed. Similar to her remix of Yes And Mariah wasn't needed on that song. It felt like Mariah wasn't even in the studio when they recorded that song. Mariah was hitting the high register the whole damn time. The vocals didn't match. It just made no sense. Ariana Grande on this song did not make sense. I mean, she's a singer. She's not somebody who. I mean, I'm not saying like Charlie XX is a singer as well, but the type of music that Charlie does, she's an electronic music act. She could have just did that remix by herself. It would have worked. But I could have sworn I sent you a tag that I went live. But y'all supposed to be getting the alerts on the YouTube when I go live and things. Well, Brown Buddy, you said, what's the tea? I kind of gave you all the tea. You can't handle the tea. In the words of who was it that said that? Jinx Monsoon on her season of Drag Race. Or was it? No, it was All Stars. Anyway, so let's get right into the show. Let's get into this. I don't know. Terrifier 3 post of a story thingy. So yes, I told y'all I had to rush up out of here because I need to go see Terrifier 3. So I went to go see it last night. I wanted to see it early in the day because I hate like being out in this, like going to the theater late at night because it's like the trains in New York City are fucking horrible in regards of how the trains and everything works around here. It depends on the like where you live as well. When you in Manhattan, you got all them people with a lot of money. It seems like the trains work better for them. But if you live like out in the Bronx or if you're going to Queens, whatever, the train is always drama with the damn trains, especially train traffic. But anyway. So I went to go see the movie yesterday. I'm so over it when it comes to theaters and these 20-minute trailers. Why do we get so many long trailers? I hate sitting through trailers. I actually did run into somebody that I used to work with that was in the same theater as me. That actually I used to work with at AMC, was in the same theater as me when we went to go see Terrifier 3. So I watched the movie. It was a lot of people in there. Contrary, because, you know, I think of, like in regards to people thinking like, how is this movie going to fare well at the box office? Like, it is a film that has kind of gained a lot of momentum due to word of mouth. It is not something that, it's not like Friday the 13th or Scream or I Know What You Did Last Time. It's not like, or not even terrible. What's that movie that's coming out next week? Smile 2. Like, it's not something like that where it already has like a big studio behind it, so it's get this big promotional push. The thing with Terrifier series is that it's built this momentum through word of mouth, so that's how a lot of people are aware of it. And it was great that I was in a theater with a lot of people who are like horror movie fans that like this type of film. There was kids in there that had like Terrifier shirts on. They had the Art the Clown, you know, regalia. There was one girl had her face painted up like she was a clown herself. I was like, okay, Harley Quinn, did you step into the wrong movie? You know, Joker's playing in the other theater. But she was there to see Art. And when I tell you that Art the Clown delivered in this movie, I will have to say out of all the films, Part 3 is actually my favorite. Now, you know, David Howard Thornton definitely did his damn thing as Art the Clown, per usual. I will say this, that I also noticed that the makeup was a step up as well. And I think because they've gotten more money this time around, that a lot of the makeup jobs and everything was a lot better. I love the makeup. I love the blood. I love the gore. And shout out to David Leone. I don't know. You are one sick fuck. No shade, but you are. But I say that in a good way because who comes up with the stuff that he comes up with? Like when I'm watching like the kill scenes and then it's like the prosthetic, like I love practical effects. There's one thing I can't stand is digital. Like I understand if you want to use digital to enhance certain things, but for the most part, I love when, you know, when he uses props to enhance what I'm seeing on the screen. And I just loved seeing a lot of the props and the props, the prosthetics, all that other stuff. And I was to say, yeah, the Art the Clown's makeup looked amazing in this film. And then David Leone said that yeah, he had people that helped out with the makeup this time around, but he said that he's very much hands-on when it comes to stuff because in the beginning, in All Hallows Eve, which is where Art the Clown comes from, if you have not seen All Hallows Eve, which is a short film series, definitely check that out on Shudder. That's where Art the Clown comes from, and then that's when it stemmed into the whole Terrifier franchise. So if you haven't seen the two Terrifier movies, Terrifier 1 and 2, you can catch those on Amazon Prime. If you want to see All Hallows Eve, you can catch that on Shudder. And I'm sure if you had Screenbox, you can check it on there too. But no shade, Screenbox ain't got they got slim pickings when it comes to the horror. Shudder has way better stuff on there. So I definitely loved the film. I thought, like I said, David Howard Thornton did a phenomenal job as Art the Clown. I did notice that between the previous two movies, he played this character a little more sinister. Like, I noticed there was a darker vibe to him. I do like that they're going more into this whole supernatural thing, especially when you had Vicky, who, was in the earlier films, and then how she's been taken over and now she's become this vessel where it's like she needs Sienna to lose everything that she loves, everything in life, so that way she could let her in and take over her body and that sort of thing. But so the kills and stuff was crazy. I forget the actor who played Sienna's uncle. I remember seeing him in previous stuff. I know he was on that show Popular that was with Mary Cherry and them. I don't know if y'all seen that show back in the day, but I recognized it because of the ears. I can't remember the actor's name, but yes, he started a lot of earlier films and a lot of earlier TV shows that I used to watch coming up, I think, on the CW. And then here's the thing that I was thinking also, because we're about to talk about I Know What You Did Last Summer in the next segment, but I was sitting there thinking, like, if they bring Brandy back, that they would have her be like some sort of a serial killer, podcaster, one of those type of things. They already have. I've realized maybe they need to change that, because they've done that to death in regards of those type of characters. Because there's a girl in this movie that plays that kind of character that is obsessed with serial killers and wanting to get behind in their mind and what they smell like and what they were thinking when they're killing people. And she kind of gets obsessed with Jonathan, who is her boyfriend's roommate. And, Jonathan from Terrifier 2, and then Sienna, and how she has no kind of respect or regard for the fact that, yeah, you're obsessed with these killers, but what do you think these people are going through that have gone through this thing, and how they survive these traumatic events? And yes, trauma, people dealing with the trauma is something that has been done to death, I will say, but it's always about in the way you execute it. And I feel like in this film, David Leone did a great job of executing, dealing with Sienna's trauma and Jonathan's trauma. Oh, speaking of Jonathan, I felt like he was underused in this film. I would have liked to see more from him and seeing how he was coping in regards of the trauma of what he dealt with in Terrifier 2. Other than that, that's my only gripe with the movie, is that I don't feel like his character was developed enough. Where I did feel like he took a backseat in a lot of situations, or maybe that there was more that was added to it, but because people complain about the previous film being 2.5 hours long, and this movie, it is 2 hours, which I think is great, because they're talking about people have short attention. Well, fuck these TikTok kids. Like, if they're the people who only can watch a movie for 10 minutes, then this is not for them. But for me, if there's enough story that you can put in there and those other stuff, and you want to build on these characters and you're building this world, I don't mind a movie being a little over 2 hours if you're going to take me on this journey that I can go along with. Now, in regards to the kills, I will say this. They were talking about people walking out and all this other stuff, and I do think people were overreacting in a lot of that way. But for me personally, I didn't see nobody walk out. The only time I seen people walking out, they were going to the bathroom, because I was watching, and them same people did come back. So for the most part, then there was a guy in there with an emotional support dog. I'm like, I don't know if this is a movie you want to sit and watch if you have an emotional support dog and you be dealing with a lot of mental issues. Because I think, like, when people have emotional support, it's a lot of mental stuff you got to deal with. I'm like, do you really want to sit and watch this movie? Do you even have a ticket for this movie? Because if you don't, then you don't know what you're about to walk in on. And you already know, whenever you watch someone like a Art the Clown, you already know what you're going to get when you get this. You're going to get him going over the line, the fact that nobody is spared. And trust me when I tell you, nobody is spared. So when you think, like, kids should be off limits, old people should be off limits, this person's supposed to be, oh, you're not supposed to do that? Okay, now if you want people to, like, not kill kids, okay, then go over there to Jason and Michael Myers. But if you're expecting to get that from Art the Clown, especially when this movie takes place on Christmas, then you are a fool. So for people to go out here and get all annoyed over some of the kill choices that Damien Leone has Art make in this film, then okay, go argue with your mammy. Like, this is not the movie for you. Like, especially if you're not somebody that's into gore and all that other stuff. Now, I will say this, because, like, with each movie, they always have, like, that movie that they say, like, okay, there's a scene that you already know you're going to expect. So there's a specific scene that's going to go, I guess, top the previous movie. Because, in Terrifier 2, they had the bedroom scene, which they were like, okay, this was, like, the ultimate kill. Now, in part 3, we do get that. But but the weird part is, in part 3, there's some really good kills in there that it's like, that's not the only kill. That one standout kill I'll say it's the shower scene, but I'm not going to tell you what happens in there. That scene, I was like, oh God, like, come on. Especially when it was like, what was going on and the chainsaw and what it was cutting up and things of that nature. I was like, oh, okay, like, I'm done, but I'm still invested because I can't, I got to look away, but I can't because I'm like looking at the train wreck. I got to look at the accident on the side of the road. You know, it's like you can't look away because you want to see what happens. And Art definitely pulled it up. Now, and I also love the third act when it's like Sienna and Art have their showdown. And it was so like, you know, and we're getting more into that backstory where Jason Patrick, who you guys may know, played in one of my favorite movies growing up, The Lost Boys. So he plays Sienna's father, and we get the backstory and all the other stuff and knowing what her sole purpose is and the legacy behind the sword and all that other stuff, which you get a little bit of breadcrumbs of that in Terrifier 2. It's more fleshed out in part 3. So I will say, I overall I love the film, and here is Art and Vicky. That's all I'm saying. The makeup on this movie, absolutely like I love the makeup effects on here. I love the props. I love the kills. Oh, and I also shout out to David Leone, who I was like, I didn't even know he was 40, which makes a whole lot of sense because someone within that age of like millennial, like on the butt end of the millennial era verse, and then also maybe Gen X, because he's kind of like on, he's 40. So he grew up on the things that I grew up on. He grew up on like I Spit on Your Grave and Friday the 13th and Halloween and all those type of films where it's like you look at the makeup effects and stuff, and the guy that he looks up to in regards to the makeup, of course, is the godfather of makeup effects, and that's Tom Savini. And seeing Tom Savini in a cameo in this film definitely warmed my heart. And I love the fact that people, like, there were people in the audience that were clapping. I'm like, yes, y'all know who Tom Savini is. Let me find out. So it's like, yeah, when you're a true like horror nerd, you're gonna know, like, you're gonna see the the little things that's in there. Like you'll notice with certain cameos. And then the last movie he had Felissa Rose, who played Angela from Sleepaway Camp. And I'm like, wait a minute, now this guy has somebody from Sleepaway Camp in his movie playing a teacher in the second one. So it's like when you bring people, and then he also had her in another movie that he produced, which I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head, but I do want to see it. I think it's called Stream or something or another, with Danielle Harris and a bunch of them. They go to like this hotel, and there's like serial killers that are pretty much just like a game, and they get locked in this hotel room, and they have to try to survive the night, and then people are literally are betting to see like how many people these killers can kill. I've said I know Damien Leone is behind the effects and stuff on that. So I definitely want to check that movie out. I know it was like in limited release, and I'm just waiting for that to show up on like Prime or something so I can check it out. But yeah, so my overall thoughts on this was like, yeah, I feel like out of all the three films, I loved all three movies. The first one was basically all about just like Art going on killing people. Didn't really have much of a story. It was like we're sitting there watching the kills. The effects were crazy. You did what you could with the limited budget. Part two was like we got to see Sienna and get introduced to her and her family and how she became like the final girl. So she, in my opinion, is going to be the Sidney Prescott, the Nev Campbell. Well, not Nev. I don't want to put Nev Campbell in it. Nev Campbell will always be an icon. But she, in my opinion, is for the next generation of horror movie fans, she's going to be in that Mount Rushmore, in my opinion, the more they flesh her character out, of a Sidney Prescott, of a Laurie Strode, or, someone of that nature. So I definitely see or an Ellen Ripley of sorts. So I could definitely see her coming up in that whole thing. But I just thought Damien did a phenomenal job with this film, especially using the money wisely, because a lot of people get a lot of money when it comes to a budget and they just blow it on some of the most stupidest things. And I did watch an interview with him where he talked about like he took meetings with a lot of major movie heads and all this other stuff, and how we could tell based off the conversation that they wanted to come in, they wanted to change some things, and weren't going to allow him to do certain things that he wanted to do with the story in regards to the kills, which is why this film was unrated and not rated R. And that's why he was like, nah, I'm gonna just stick with being independent. So he appreciated taking the meetings, but he didn't want them coming in and trying to change things up. Or even though we've had Terrifier 1 and 2 and all this other stuff, and he said he was actually able to buy a house after he started writing, securing the rights for Terrifier 3. So he was still off doing his side jobs and things while we were getting, while Art the Clown was becoming this icon of sorts. on the Mount Rushmore of like a Freddy or a Jason or a Michael Myers and that sort of thing. So it was good to know, like, you know, he's at this point, he's like, I'm humble enough. Like, I don't want the big fame and all this other stuff. I just want to be able to, you know, support myself and be able to do the things that I love. And I realized that when I always say it gets greater later, that's what I truly mean about that. Like, it's not important to be, oh, I need to have the big mansion that's $25 million house that I'm gonna buy and have all the money and the hookers and partying and doing freak off. Like, I don't need all that. Because like when you get to be a certain age, you start to realize what's more important. And he realizes that, you know what, I just want to make my movies. I just want to be able to have success from them. And I want to be able to take care of myself and live off the fact of what I've created is paying off. And it is paying off. So shout out to Damien Leone. He's like becoming like one of my favorite directors right now. I want to see him direct other things. Like, I don't want you to have we don't need a Terrifier part 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We don't need it to go that far. If he can cap it at 4 or maybe 5, then I think we're good. And then I want to see him create other things because I don't want him to just be locked into this whole Terrifier franchise. And then you're just basically a one-note director. I don't get that from him, because I feel like he is immensely creative, and especially when it comes to like effects and makeup and that sort of thing. Like, I see that he's one of those guys. And then him creating this Art the Clown situation, and then the other film that I was talking about with Stream, he definitely is on his way of becoming like that horror movie making icon, you know, in the same vein of Joe Spinell, or maybe even a John Carpenter, someone of that nature. So yeah, the kills were creative. I loved it. I love the fact that he used the money wisely in regards to the budget, the storyline, using a lot of unknown actors. To me, that's always interesting. Don't put no big names in your movies, because if you're going to kill people, I don't want it to be like, oh yeah, so that's Ryan Gosling in a movie and now you got to cut him up with a chainsaw. Like, I don't want to see that. I feel like let's invest in the characters and now look at the fact of there's this big star in your film. Like, we didn't get that from Scream and all these other films, even though there were people who were famous in their own right that were in those movies, but they were utilized correctly. So, you know, I give this movie, you know, if I had to go 10 out of 10 or whatever the case is, I would give it like a solid 8.5. It's definitely a movie I think a lot of people should check out. If you're a huge horror movie gore hound fan like I am, you'll definitely enjoy it. If you're just going expecting that you're probably going to be cringing a lot, that you're going to be like, I can't believe he went there doing that. So if you're looking for lighthearted horror, if you're looking for like the Babadook or something like that, this is not what this movie is. If you're looking for Hereditary, if you're looking for stuff like that, if you're looking for like that low key, like if you're looking to not be freaked out about stuff, this is not the movie for you. So I definitely highly recommend it if you're a huge horror movie fan. So I say all this to say, what do y'all think of this story? Did you see Terrifier 3? Did you like the movie? Did you hate the movie? What were your overall thoughts? I'm curious to hear what you guys had to hear about it. And I'm definitely looking forward to seeing where Damien, I don't know why I keep calling him David. It's like Damien Leone. I think I'm thinking about a David in my head. But what do you think about Damien? I mean, and also, what would you like to see Damien take on? You know what, I was like, maybe we could see Damien take on Friday the 13th. They wanted to revive that franchise. I would definitely love to see him take on Friday the 13th and see where he could take us with that in regards to fleshing out the story, and it being longer than 90 minutes, and then what kind of crazy kills he can come up with. I would definitely love to see him take on a Friday the 13th franchise. I wouldn't want to see him do Halloween. I'd rather Friday the 13th. And this, to me, is like I think it's on my list of favorite horror movie Christmas films, up there with Black Christmas is one of them, and Silent Night, Deadly Night, the first one, not all the sequels, the first one. You know, that was another movie that was banned. So I wonder if he was inspired by that too, because Silent Night, Deadly Night was a movie that was so controversial, was banned back in the day, and it's really hard to get a hold of that movie too. So let me know what although I did hear they're coming out with I think they're doing a Blu-ray or something or another. I believe Robert posted that or something or another about that there is a Silent Night, Deadly Night what is it, Blu-ray or something or another. There's something coming out with it where it's going to be available on disc. I need to see it. But anyway, let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. He said, yeah, I heard about Rita Ora and Romy being the Romy's name sounds familiar. I think I know who that is. Doesn't she do stuff with Jamie XX? I think she does. I mean, I've heard her stuff before. She is an electronic. She does a lot of electronic music. Oh yeah, she was a part of. Well, she was a part of the XX, which I believe Jamie XX was a part of that. So yeah, she's a dance electronic act. I mean, as far as Rita Ora goes, I'm not mad at Rita Ora being a part of it because I mean it'll give her more exposure. I like Rita Ora. I like Rita Ora's music. I just don't know why she hasn't popped over here. But look, she's gonna get the opportunity with Miss Kylie Minogue. Yeah, so she is Madison Square Garden. Britney should try black now. Miss Terrifier is gonna show up Miss Joker. Oh well, you know that it is. Well, I was like, look. I didn't give away no spoilers. I said I wasn't gonna spoil nothing. So I didn't want to tell y'all like the kills and all this stuff because damn, I forgot to mention about the opening kill. So I know like some people were talking about that. I'm not gonna spoil what happens, but there were some people saying, oh, they walked out after the opening kill. I'm like, really? Because after y'all were hyping it up, I watched the opening kill. Yeah, I did. That opening kill was crazy. But I was like, this is what y'all walking out on? They clearly ain't know nothing about no damn Terrifier, but yeah, I love the movie. But I do wonder, like, how far can you continue to take Art the Clown? Like, I don't see that lasting very long. I could see them capping it at, like, part 4, part 5, and me saying there's gonna be a part 4 is not a spoiler because Damian Leone just did an interview weeks ago. At, I believe it was Fantastic Fest. I think it was like a week or two ago. I forget when Fantastic. Yeah, I think Fantastic Fest was maybe like last week or 2 weeks ago. I can't remember off the top of my head. And he basically revealed that there's going to be a part 4. So that's not a spoiler. And people started to ask that. Why are the? Because you're twisted and demented. And I did love Terrifier too. Left the theater in a daze. Yeah, I definitely was like thinking about that movie after. I'm like, what the fuck did I just sit through? That's why I was like, I posted on my page after I watched it. I'm like, Damien, you are one twisted fuck. You are one sick, twisted fuck. And why do I love this movie so much? Because when you do the thing. Okay. I was gonna say, can I spoil one kill? Because there's a scene in the movie, I'm like, this shit is disgusting, especially the scene with Vicky when okay, just cover your ears if you don't want to hear it. So there's like this one scene, of course, like I don't know if you've seen it in the trailer when it's like this guy and like that goes up in the attic and then Art is basically attacking him or whatever the case is because Vicky's in the tub, she done slit her wrist, she been up there, it seemed like 5 years, and then she's in the tub. And then Art is in the rocking chair. He's got all this dust on him, like he's been just collecting dust over the years. But I guess they just been waiting for the perfect time. So then they're supposed to be detonating the house that he's been kind of hiding out in. And so the detonators, one's in the basement and the one's up in the attic. And he's checking out some stuff and he's trying to see if Art is actually real. So then he goes and when he's being attacked or whatever. So while Art is killing him, and the scene was disgusting. So he basically like cuts his head open from here on back, rips the skin down, and you see like all the skin come down on his face. Meanwhile, Vicky goes and takes a piece of glass, the same one that she cut her wrist with, and is fucking herself with it. And I'm sitting there like, how is this in this movie? That was like one of the scenes I'm like, how did y'all get past the censors with this? But like I said, it was unrated. And you seen all this blood on the floor, and then he goes and he looks at her after she's climaxed, after he did what he did, he goes, I'm sitting there laughing. I'm like, why am I laughing at this? So when I tell you there's a lot of crazy kills in this movie, that's one of them. The other one was that chainsaw sequence. Now that scene in the shower with the chainsaw, I was like, how did y'all get away? Like that's what I've literally just been thinking about with that movie. How did y'all get away with that? So I'm thinking I may have to do like a spoiler review or whatever the case is. But yeah, yes, I agree. Black Christmas is excellent. I love Black Christmas, the original one with Margot Kidder. Not the remake. The remake was all right. But I didn't like the remake was okay. I actually watched the remake not too long ago. I was like, it's all right, but I feel like it takes away the mystery of the original movie. The remake, I hate when horror movies spend too much time on backstory. That's why I don't like Rob Zombie's Halloween. It's like, y'all, you literally just went and over-explained Michael Myers' legacy. But anyway, so now let's get off that. I know you said child. Okay, let's move on to lighter stuff. But let's talk about Henry Cavill, who got another job. Well, apparently he seemed like to be the only actor working in Hollywood because he got another gig. I'm like, you ain't even started filming Highlander yet. But here you go, jumping in the new Voltron, movie. I was gonna say remake. We never even got one, but I'm just hoping and praying like we getting Voltron. Can y'all please do better than Transformers? Because the first Transformers, I'll give them this. I liked it. I thought Shia LaBeouf was good in it. I liked Megan Fox. I liked what y'all did with that whole thing. But then Michael Bay started to go off the rails and got ridiculous over the years. And I feel like we finally did get a good one with Bumblebee. Because I like Bumblebee. But I really wish they would have focused on that and given us a Bumblebee sequel rather than that whole the Beast Wars and all that other stuff. Like, I don't know why they went in that direction. And don't get me wrong, I love me some Anthony Ramos, but in regards to that whole situation, we didn't need Beast Wars. You should just give us a sequel to Bumblebee, and the possibility if you did a sequel to Bumblebee, then you could bring other Autobots and Decepticons and those other things into it. It would have been cool. And then maybe you have to span that on to the G.I. Joe versus Transformers thing, which I'm hearing that they're thinking about putting that. Well, not thinking. They mentioned that it's going to be happening, and that they were going to have Chris Hemsworth be in it, but we haven't heard anything about it. They still talking about they don't have a story, they don't have anything. So how are you making an announcement on a movie if you don't even have everything done yet? Like, make it make sense. But this is Hollywood for you. So now they're going into the other thing, which is the antithesis, in my opinion, of Transformers, which is Voltron, another animated series I grew up as a kid watching. So Amazon MGM's Voltron movie basically got Man of Steel and The Witcher star Henry Cavill attached as, well, I don't know what he's going to be playing. Maybe it says it in the story, so let's read about it. So according to Variety, it says Rawson Marshall Thurber is directing the movie from a script he wrote with Ellen Shanman. Thurber most recently wrote and directed Netflix's 2021 action flick Red Notice, starring Gal Gadot, that movie was terrible. And so was Skyscraper. So now I'm not even that enthused. Skyscraper was all right. Red Notice was okay. So are we getting another okay? I don't know. So far, I'm not that excited. But I am excited because Henry Cavill's in it. And I can look at his fine ass on screen all day. But let's continue to read. So it says plot details are being kept tightly under wraps, probably because there isn't one. And it says producers aside include Todd Lieberman via Hidden Pictures, Rob Koppler, Thurber, and Hobie Films' David Hoberman. And Cavill will join previously announced star Daniel Quintoy, a film newcomer who has appeared on television in Badults? What is Badults? I've never heard of that. And he also, he's not really well known, but he actually was Tom Holland's understudy in Romeo and Juliet when he was in the West End. So, whenever Tom Holland couldn't perform, Daniel Quintoy stepped up and basically filled in. So the Voltron TV series followed a team of space explorers who pilot a giant super robot. The franchise was adapted from several Japanese anime television series by Toei Animation and has spawned several American series, including Netflix's 8-season Voltron Legendary Defender. Cavill most recently made a cameo appearance, as y'all know, as a Wolverine variant, Cavalrine, in Marvel's summer blockbuster Deadpool and Wolverine. He also was in Matthew Vaughn's spy comedy Argylle and Guy Ritchie's The Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare, which I should point out, both movies bombed at the box office. So Argylle was terrible. Argylle did not do well. It's on Apple TV if you want to watch it. And Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare came and went like a fart in the wind. Because I remember when I went to the theater to go see another film. I can't remember what it was. It might have been... Yeah, I don't want to take a chance and think about what the movie was. Because I don't remember. I've seen a lot of movies this year. So I don't even remember what the movie was that I saw. But I do know it was sharing a theater. It was in the Dolby Theater. They had the Ungentlemanly Warfare movie, and then it was another movie that I actually went to. Oh, no, I now remember. I think it was Furiosa that I went to go see. So I was going in the theater to see Furiosa, well, another movie that was good but bombed. So I might as well I got to throw the dag at that one too. So I went to go see Furiosa. Went in the theater. Nobody was in that theater to see Ungentlemanly Warfare, so it bombed. And it's like, I like Guy Ritchie, but your movies just ain't resonating for some reason. Just retire and sit pretty on Madonna's money. You know, the ones you won from her when in that divorce. So I like Henry Cavill, but he is not proven to be a box office draw, and it's no shade. I do want, but look, I do have high hopes for Chad Stahelski's Highlander because he is playing the lead in the Highlander reboot. And I love Chad Stahelski. You know, I loved all the John Wick movies. He's going to bring like this whole John Wickian vibe to the Highlander reboot. So I'm really excited to see where he's going to go with that. He's also about to start another Guy Ritchie movie. I just threw a dagger at Guy Ritchie. He making another damn film. So he's got an action adventure film coming out called The Grey, In the Grey. So, and they're both going to be for Lionsgate. He's also supposed to be doing the Warhammer 40,000 movie. So I don't know what's going on with that. So he's pretty busy. He's got the Highlander movie. He's got The Grey. He's got the Warhammer 40,000. He's got this movie. But who knows when they're going to start filming Voltron? Because if you're about to start in Highlander and Highlander doesn't start filming until January of this year, and who knows how long they're going to be filming. I'm sure it's going to be overseas. It's not going to be in the United States if they're filming this movie. Obviously, if they want it for budgetary reasons, we want to save a little cointada. They're most likely he's going to be going overseas to film this. It's probably going to be for a good 2, maybe 3 months tops. When are they going to start filming Voltron? So it's great that Henry Cavill's name is attached and he's going to be in this film, but I need to know more detail, like when you're going to start shooting. What character is he playing? Is he doing the voice of a character of one of the Voltrons? Is he playing the villain? Or so maybe that if he is doing the voice, then he's not needed on set to do motion capture or whatever it is that they're going to be doing in regards of having the Voltron up in there or whatever. I don't know. We'll see. So I say all this to say, what do y'all think of this story? Are you excited that Henry Cavill, my husband, one of many, is about to be starring in Voltron, the live action version, and fingers crossed that it's actually better than what we've gotten with Transformers over the years? Because I've been pretty much, disappointed with Transformers overall. Although, like I said, I love the original. I love Bumblebee. I didn't mind Beast Wars, but Beast Wars just wasn't. Because I went to the movies to see that, but Beast Wars just didn't give fully what needed to be given, and apparently it didn't resonate with a lot of people. A lot of people didn't go see the film. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. Driver C said, did Britney ever make it to Diddy after dark? Can you imagine them calling it Diddy after dark? Do you think Diddy movies will make it no, they'll be on the dark web before that. I'm gonna just leave it right there. We had a conversation about that yesterday with Henry Cavill and straight actors who get beards and have babies because they want to thwart people off them rumors. And how we was wondering when was Zac Efron about to come out and do the same thing, allegedly. But anyway, let's move on. Let's talk about I Know What You Did Last Summer. So apparently actor Billy Campbell is the latest actor to sign on to the franchise, which I'm pretty much excited. Well, I'm excited for I Know What You Did Last Summer. I do like Billy Campbell. For those of you not familiar with Billy Campbell, he did play the husband of Jennifer Lopez in Enough, a movie that is actually a guilty pleasure of mine. It's basically a Sleeping with the Enemy ripoff, but for the most part, I like the film, and Jennifer does a good job. Horrible wig aside, because she had that horrible ass Monet Exchange shake and go wig that I do not particularly care for, but overall, I like her in the movie, and I like the movie. And Billy Campbell played her a-hole husband. But it'll be interesting to know who Billy Campbell is playing in the movie. I was kind of thinking, would he possibly be playing Ray's father? But that probably would be far-fetched because some people be like, well, even though Freddie Prinze Jr. is damn near 50, he and Billy Campbell is probably close in age. So Sony's sequel to I Know What You Did Last Summer just added Billy Campbell to the booming cast, which includes Freddie Prinze Jr., Chase Sweet Wonders, Madeline Klein, Sarah Pigeon, Tariq Withers, and Jonah Hor King. Franchise OG star Jennifer Love Hewitt. Oh wait, there's only one Jennifer. This is Jennifer. OG star Jennifer Love Hewitt is also in talks to return. So we're still waiting on her to sign on the dotted line. I guess it's still in negotiations, or maybe that is behind the scenes people just pulling on chain and they're just trying to figure out how they can work around her schedule before they're like, okay, so yeah, she's officially signed on. But we also been hearing rumors about Brandy being attached to the film because Jennifer Caton Robinson, remember, was out here talking about that, yeah, Brandy Carla character is canon to the story that she's going to tell, which of course Brandy went in an interview was like, oh, I didn't know that they were doing I Know What You Did Last Summer requel and how she would love to be in it. Then there was a conversation that went around that Jennifer and Brandy had met up and had lunch and things of that nature, which sparked even more rumors that Brandy may be starring in the requel as Carla, but we haven't heard anything. So now there was rumors that they probably were working the script to try to squeeze her in, but I don't know how I feel about that. It's like, if you have an idea and you have your script worked out or whatever, don't just try to don't just shove something in something just so that way it could be fan service, but it doesn't serve your story. So that's kind of like what I worried about with that, as well as like Scream 7. Like I'm worried a little bit about that as well when it comes to that situation in regards of, you know, Sydney and how they're going to fit her in that whole world. Like if you're going to be bringing people into things, it needs to make sense to the story that you're trying to tell. Don't just try to do fan service, because then we'll be like, oh yay, that person it made a cameo, but it's like, okay, but they didn't serve the film. And we've seen that happen many a times. So it says the Paradigm and Link Entertainment rep Campbell recently starring in two-time primetime Emmy winning Amazon series Mr. and Mrs. Smith, a show I could not get into, by the way. I don't know. I just did not believe Donald Glover as a spy. So I didn't really like it. So they also said that he was also last seen in CTV Hulu television series Cardinal. Campbell won a Canadian Screen Award for Best Actor in Cardinal for 2 years in a row, as well as nominated for an International Emmy Award for Best Actor in a Series. He's also known for his work as co-lead in the critically acclaimed AMC series The Killing, the Lifetime MOW, Lizzie Borden Took an Axe, DirecTV's Neil LaBute drama Full Circle, as well as a title role in Nat Geo Channel's Killing Lincoln, which garnered record-breaking ratings. Well, he does look like Abraham Lincoln. Other feature film credits include Disney's The Racketeer. Oh yeah, that's why I remember him from that movie too. I used to watch that a lot as a kid. Ghost Town opposite Ricky Gervais, Francis Ford Coppola's Bram Stoker's Dracula. Well, I did love that film as well. And of course, as I mentioned earlier, Enough starring Jennifer Lopez. Now, Campbell also starred in the ABC drama Once and Again, for which he earned a Golden Globe Awards nomination for Best Actor, Drama Series category, as well as a People's Choice Award for Favorite Male Performer in a New Television Series category. So he's been around for a long time, because we could sit here and go through his resume, as Deadline likes to do. But Billy Campbell, yes, he's going to be in the film. I do wonder, like I said before, what character is he going to play? Like, I'm interested in who he's going to play in this whole film. Is he going to play the new killer, like how y'all did with Dermot Mulroney in Scream 5? Well, Scream 6, actually. What's that? Scream 5? It's Scream 6. Is he going to play a cop, like an FBI agent or something or another? Like, I'm just curious as to what they're going to play. Or, yeah, is he going to play, like, as I said, is he going to play a killer? Is he going to play a cop? Is he going to play one of the kids' parents that's in the movie? One of the apparent victims, or what you want to call it? So I guess we'll find out once the film starts filming and we get a trailer and we get more of an idea what the movie's going to be about. But I say all this to say, what do y'all think of this story? Are you excited that Billy Campbell is going to be in the I Know What You Did Last Summer requel? And are you getting annoyed that everybody else is getting cast except we're getting the official word on whether or not is Brandy going to be in this movie? Is Jennifer Love Hewitt going to be in this movie? I'm sure it's a given that Jennifer Love Hewitt is going to sign on. It's just a matter of when they're going to make the announcement. But as far as Brandy, okay, is she going to be in it or not? Let us know. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. Okay, so Roro says The Rocketeer used to be my movie. Reminds me of Wild Hearts Can't Be Broken. Remember that? I do remember that. I love The Rocketeer. I don't think it did really well. If I can remember, I don't think it was like this big, it was a big hit. But I do remember when I was a kid, I did watch that on VHS a lot. And I used to think Billy Campbell was cute. He still is a good looking man. He looks the same. He just got gray hair, a gray beard. He does look the same, which is older. I don't love people like that. It's like, you look at people, it's like, damn, you look the same, just older. But then there's some people like, what the fuck happened to you? But anyway, let's move on. Let's talk about the Diddler, who we finally got a set trial date. So, he did try to go up for getting out of jail a third time. And the judge said no, no, no. Okay? So, I don't know why you thought third time would be a charm. Sir, you are not getting out of jail. You're not getting out of prison. You're going to be left there until you go to trial. And then even after your trial, no shade, you're about to be guilty, and you're going to be in there the rest of your life. So you really think you're going to be running out in these streets? Freedom, freedom, I can't move. So you're going to be in jail forever, sir. So get used to it. But anyway, so apparently we got a date set, not a release date, because he ain't getting out, like I said. Because he's locked up, they won't let him out. So now they're saying that he will stand trial on May 5th, 2025. In his racketeering and sex trafficking case, a federal judge ruled at a court hearing on October 10th, which was yesterday. So the trial date is in line with what the rapper's legal team wanted. In court documents filed Wednesday, October 9th, his lawyers said that they were continuing to assert his constitutional right to a speedy trial and would be seeking to get the case before a jury in April or May. Though a trial date is now set, the schedule could still be pushed back, particularly if prosecutors file new charges or add defendants to the case. It could also be delayed if Combs eventually waives his speedy trial right to give his team more time to prepare, a decision that might hinge on whether he's granted bail in a pending appeal. When he does stand trial, Combs will face charges on racketeering and trafficking over what prosecutors say was a sprawling criminal operation aimed at satisfying his need for sexual gratification. The decades-long scheme allegedly involved not only elaborate sexual parties called freak-offs and other abuse, but also forced labor, kidnapping, arson, and bribery. And remember, that arson part is probably because when he tried to blow up Kid Cudi's car. That was according to Cassie. Now, for decades, Sean Combs abused, threatened, and coerced women and others around him to fulfill his desires, protect his reputation, and conceal his conduct. This is what prosecutors wrote in their indictment last month. To do so, Combs relied on the employees, resources, and influence of his multifaceted business empire that he led and controlled. Now, on Thursday's hearing, it came less than 24 hours after Combs' lawyers accused the government of leaking evidence to the media, including the infamous surveillance video of Combs assaulting then-girlfriend Cassie in 2016. Well, here's the thing. Actually, I was like, I didn't need his lawyers to make that assumption. I think we all pretty much came to that assumption that how did that get out? Like, when his homes were raided, I believe it was the LA and the Florida house. When his homes were raided, because Star Island, I believe, is in Florida. When his homes were raided, they went through the safe. They probably found all the evidence of his freak-offs and what was going on, including the evidence that he bought from the hotel of him putting paws on Cassie, which we ended up seeing. Now, how it got out, that is to be determined. They're going to have to figure out a way to prove that it was leaked to get the public to, I guess create their assessment, but I don't think that's going to help your case. Like, us seeing a video and having an overall opinion about it, how does that help you in your trial? The court of public opinion is the court of public opinion, but you actually have to stand trial against all the other accusations that you made. So for them leaking a video, what does that got to do with the price of tea in China? So I don't get that. But, in regards to everything else, like I said, I don't think you're getting out of jail. That, okay, just because you get the speedy recovery, you better hope between that time, between now and May 5th, that more charges won't be added on, that you know, you won't have to add more defendants to your case and all that other stuff. And they feel like, yeah, if they let him out, then there's going to be a way for him to try to intimidate certain witnesses from testifying. And I feel like even if he has Cassie getting up there to testify, he has no control over. I mean, she's the one that spilled all your tea. So at this point, it's like you don't even have control over whether or not, you could threaten her life or whatever the case is. Because if anything happened to her, all eyes will point to your behind in regards to the whole situation. So there's that. But then speaking of the freak-offs, there was a story that I saw on, what do you call it? On Radar Online, where they did a deep dive. They was out here talking about the secret rules of Diddy's nightmarish, eyes wide shut style freak-offs and all the stuff that was allegedly going on up in there. So here's the tea on that. So they basically said Sean Diddy Combs freak-off parties follow strict rules and were allegedly filled with male prostitutes and masked guests. So clearly he saw Eyes Wide Shut, that Stanley Kubrick movie with Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman, and probably got some ideas. That was a good movie, by the way. Now, according to Cassie Ventura's lawsuit against the music mogul and Bad Boy Records, the Long Way to Go singer detailed how she was allegedly instructed to use various websites and escort services to find male sex workers to attend Diddy's freak-offs. The lawsuit claimed sometimes Mr. Combs would pay to fly male sex workers to his location, including to multiple cities in the United States as well as abroad. He required Ms. Ventura and his staff to help him make these arrangements. Diddy also reportedly told his assistants would help set up the FOs, which I actually think is a better way of calling it freak off. So I'm probably going to start calling it that. Like OnlyFans is OF. We're going to start, flipping the word, flipping the letters. OF and now FO, freak offs. By stocking up the rooms with baby oil and Astroglide. Not the Astroglide. Wait, the games use Astroglide. I was going to say, Diddy, what you know about Astroglide? But I've been telling y'all, Diddy been giving me Butch Queen teas since the 90s. Only the Butch Queens know about some damn Astroglide and the Femme Queens. Quiet as his camp. Now, according to the lawsuit, Mr. Combs also supplied Ms. Ventura and the S worker with copious amount of drugs before and during the FOs. Ms. Ventura was given ecstasy, booger sugar, GHB, ketamine, marijuana, and alcohol in excessive amounts during the FOs, which allowed her to disassociate during these horrific encounters. Can you imagine her frail body having all that up in her system? You got ecstasy, the booger sugar, the GHB, the ketamine, the marijuana, and the liquor. I'm surprised her body didn't split in two with all them drugs in her system. I got these drugs in my system. Somebody's going to be my victim. And that's what Diddy was saying as he was putting all them drugs in them systems and then creating a whole lot of victims. So they also said that it became commonplace to get IV fluids in the days after the FO to recover from the excessive substances pushed on her. Isn't there a video of Diddy Mama getting an IV drip? Which kind of made me think like Miss Mama's been partaking in them FOs too, because who else is going to be banging out them old walls? So I would not be surprised if she was getting her back dug out by a sex worker too. She ain't had to pay for it. Her son paid for everything. I hope that wig was on tight, because if that shit would have came off them old $2 shake and go wigs that she be getting from the Target. Wait, Target don't sell wigs. Them old Party City wigs that she be wearing. Them old Spencer's wigs. I know she had to keep them pins in there real tight. Because them suckers, you be sweating, them shits be sliding off. So they also said that Cassie also claimed that she was required to dress up in lingerie and wear white nail polish to contrast her nails with the skin of the black men she hired to have sex with her. Diddy also allegedly instructed Cassie to pour excessive amounts of oil over herself and instruct her and the sex workers to speak to each other and say things like, grab that big black dick, and ask her, how does it feel as he directed her to perform for him? Child, it's the colorism for me, because now you got Diddy out here beating his meat to the fact of them telling this girl, who is exotic looking, grab that big black dick. That sounds like some shit his ass would say. I mean, this is the same one that said, take that, take that. So you think he ain't out here telling people to grab the big black D? And then going, how does it feel? All right, D'Angelo. So Diddy's parties allegedly took place in hotel suites, including, now why am I not surprised, the Trump International Hotel, which I was literally not too far from there yesterday because I go to the movie theater in Lincoln Square and Columbus Circle and that whole area. So I usually walk past the Trump International Hotel. So child, if I knew the walls could be up in there talking, that hotel know where all the bodies is buried. So they basically said the Trump International Hotel in Columbus Circle, L'Hermitage in the Beverly Hills, which is a hotel I'm aware of only because when I used to read Jackie Collins books back in the day when I was a kid, I used to read my mother's Jackie Collins books, which is why I used to go from like the Stephen King to the fluffier, stuff like the gossipy, stuff like the Jackie Collins books, the Lucky Santangelos and things. So that's how I became aware of the L'Hermitage, because that was one of the hotels that Lucky Santangelo used to always frequent. It's funny, I always have a backstory with something, right? So they said, yeah, those hotels, L'Hermitage Beverly Hills, the London Hotel in LA, the Intercontinental Century City, the Intercontinental Atlanta, the Intercontinental New York City, and the one hotel in New York and Miami. The Intercontinental, child, that was a popular one. The disgraced rapper apparently asked Cassie and other guests to wear masquerade masks and ingested drugs before they performed sexual acts for him to watch. Diddy eventually settled Cassie's lawsuit outside of court, but some of her abuse allegations were proven after security camera footage from the hotel showed the Bad Boy for Life rapper kicking and dragging her down the halls outside their room. And he's also faced other charges and other things. They've had over thousands of people who have hit up that hotline and said that they've been abused by him and coming out with all these stories. We already talked about the woman yesterday who allegedly tried to bribe and extort her ex and say, if you lie for me, then I'll give you $3 million or whatever. I don't know if that could be fully corroborated, but that is the story that's floating around now. We'll have to see if that, what they can do with that case, whatever, if they could prove that these text messages between her and the boyfriend are legit, and if she is in fact lying, or this is some old tactic that Diddy's legal team have come up with. So this is a hot ass mess, and it just goes to show, like, you know what? When Diddy calling these his freak offs, it's kind of making me wonder. Like, so you watching adult cinematography wasn't enough, so you had to create this real life show in front of you. Like, I've been to many of FOs, like, we'll call them sex parties, whatever you want to call it. So like our own legitimate FOs that you have in New York, where it's, they have them in certain places that you go. I don't want to mention the name because I don't want to get them, in case the cops and everybody listening, those places get raided. Because I don't know if, there's people that have these type of, dark room parties with dark rooms and things of that nature. Or you have like parties where they have like live shows where you get those performers up there performing. Except this ain't Texas. This ain't Texas where Diego Barros got arrested, because that's not allowed. But in certain places, we do have those type of parties. So it kind of makes me wonder, is like, when you have those, this is consenting adults doing what they're being paid to do. And that when you are in those places, the etiquette that comes with that, where the regular people are hooking up and things are happening. So it's got me wondering in regards of that it's like, oh, so the adult cinematography wasn't enough. So you had to create this scenario, these FOs, where you had to bring in workers and your girlfriend. You passing her off like she a damn petri dish, pass her around the damn room, making her, you're turning your girlfriend into a rent-a-hoe. She basically wasn't even your girlfriend. She was your girlfriend, but you were treating her like a prostitute, in the words of Slick Rick. So you was up in here using her in that way, and you got her under all these drugs. Your meat, I'm sure, couldn't stay hard. So I'm sure you was probably using Trimix or whatever it was to keep that dick hard, beating it into oblivion because you up for days because of the meth and all the other stuff that you sitting there mixing your drugs with, the Special K and all that other stuff. I tell you, Diddy is the full equivalent of a butch queen. Like, you're literally out here doing all the things the gays be doing in the circuit world in regards to the type of drugs. Like, he is a quintessential butch queen. And you out here doing all this other stuff. But of course, because you have the money and the power and the influence and all the other stuff, you basically have brought in all these people using your girlfriend as a damn mule to, or the, the go-between to bring these hookers to your situation and watching them just ravage her and probably each other because you had the gays up in there doing stuff with each other too and you getting off on it. And this all probably stems from hip-hop culture, the misogyny of it all. You can't be the true authentic self you really want to be, which is a butch queen. So your freak offs allowed you to let the freak flag fly, which is why we've heard over the years when people talking about that Diddy been getting down with dudes, even down to 50 Cent putting his tea out there talking about, how you trying to invite a grown-ass man to go, let me take you shopping. I ain't your bitch. Now, how you trying to take me shopping? And I got my own damn money. I mean, if you quiet as a kid, 50 probably got more money than Diddy at this point. So yeah, this is a mess. Diddy is a mess. And, there ain't nothing wrong. This is basically the documents that I have. So if you definitely want to check that. And look at Leonardo DiCaprio, allegedly herpetic behind. Because I heard somebody tell me some tea that he gave a girl the H, the herp. And I believe it, because the way he be running around laying it low and spreading it wide with everybody who is under the age of 25 and frequenting them freak offs, I would not be surprised if he was out here giving VD, herpes, the chlamydia, or as I like to call Clementine, syphilina, and all of them. All them girls, all the STI girls. So, Diddy, you a mess. You belong under the jail. And I will continue to follow the story as it develops. And don't sit here and think like I'm slut shaming and somebody, because trust and believe, I be doing my dirt. I'm very sex positive. However, the way he goes about the things that he does, to me, it's like, no, when you start using your money and your power and your influence to manipulate, to abuse, for evil instead of good. Like, if you want to do your freak offs, that should be allowed, because unfortunately celebrities can't be out here and be their freaky selves. They can't go out and go into the public places like a lot of us, regular schmegular people can do and not be judged. It's like, if you go into a dark room and you hook up, nobody's going to tell you business if you're a regular person. But if you see Diddy in the back room slobbing some knob, trust and believe, you queens will be out here on the first thing coming on Reddit or wherever else, spilling that man tea, which is why he got to do it behind closed doors. Unfortunately, the way he went about it was messy. So I say, let's just say, what do y'all think of this story? Child, I'm gagging as I was reading all of that. But let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. Now, speaking of comments, let's get to some of that. Child, you said Puff won't get the PDF file treatment once inside. That's if they don't Epstein him before the trial. Well, you better hope they don't, but I keep thinking like that's going to happen to him. They want to say, he unalived himself. I do not believe Jeffrey Epstein took his own life. Onyx said, did you see the R. Kelly daughter said about him? Wait, did that documentary come out yet? Because I did cover a story about her and her father, but no, I haven't heard the latest on her. I need to look into that. You said Butch Queen tease with manicure paws. Okay. I said, I'm probably the only one out here that calling Diddy a Butch Queen. But yeah, he a Butch Queen. Just a PMP mess, messy Butch Queen. That's what I said. They love that party and play. They don't want to call it that. But that's basically what y'all was doing. When y'all talk about the freak offs and you're doing your Tucci, and you ain't no different than these gays out here with the party and play. Y'all just trying to give it a fancy name. It's the same shit, different toilet. Leo gonna be a herpes biological weapon. Patient zero. And you said, how come no man has come forward to say Diddy is not the Batiman. Shout out to my Jamaican. I believe there are some men that have come out and said that, or haven't implied it. I feel like 50 Cent has implied it. He won't say it, but he's implied it. There have been some men out here that have accused Diddy of some gay stuff and have come out and said that. I've heard those stories over the years. Wendy Williams used to tell that story too, which is why he tried to get her fired from Hot 97. Well, I think he probably did succeed at that. But Wendy was messy back in the day, even worse than she was on that TV show. But there've always been stories about him. It's funny, all these gay black men claim they ain't letting no man ram up the They'll say that in front of the camera, but when that camera ain't there, they be the main ones that holding their knees into their chest, or have their knees buried in their chest. Okay, so now, speaking of disgraced folks, let's get into Ashton Kutcher, Diddy's bestie. I wonder if he visited him in jail, because he likes going hard. Him and that dingbat wife of his, they love going hard for, problematic ass people. Like, just like they could go out here and write little letters of recommendation for Danny Masterson, who's a rapist. Then here they go, and then also with Diddy. So there was 2 strikes in regards of them two. Which, I don't know, do they have a poor judgment of character? Or is it the fact that they're just probably toxic, messy people as well? The company you keep, as they say. So they said that the once likable Ashton Kutcher has become toxic in Tinseltown due to his friendship with his pervy pals. Now, shout out to In Touch Weekly for this story, so I guess we could take it with a grain of salt, but I already have my overall thoughts on this whole thing, so we're just going to read along. So it says the actor's reputation was already reeling after he and his 41-year-old... Why y'all got to go there with the age? He and his 41-year-old wife, Mila Kunis, expressed support for that 70s show co-star Danny Masterson, who was convicted of R-wording multiple women. And now Ashton, who's 46, is facing backlash for hanging out with accused serial abuser Sean Diddy Combs, which we always knew about back in the day. But why are we trying to take stuff that he did 20 some odd years ago and trying to hold his feet to the fire for that? I hate when y'all start doing that. It's like, yeah, his friendship with Diddy was what it was back in the day. But my thing is, was you still hanging out with him years later, even when you were privy to the stuff that was going on, with him and Cassie and all that other stuff in the free calls? Because I'm sure he's been to them. Because I think he was asked about it in the interview, and he was pretty much took a more of a what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas type of approach, and was like, I'm not going to speak on it. Which goes to show, it's like, where the bodies is buried. So they say Ashton needs to pick his friends better. This is what a Showbiz insider exclusively tells In Touch. The spotlight has turned on him for revealing his relationships with a couple of Hollywood's most notorious stars. He's going to have a tough time salvaging his career after this Diddy mess. Now, Ashton is catching hell for his 2019 interview in which he not so coyly laughed about the depravity that went on behind closed doors at the 54-year-old rapper's parties he attended on multiple occasions, saying, "I've got a lot I can't tell." In another damaging interview, he confessed to James Corden how close he and Diddy had grown. He said, "We became fast friends." This is what he told the Late Late Show, I should say, in 2018, the host. So that was 6 years ago. Also, 2019, that was 5 years ago. So I guess people were trying to hold his feet to the fire over an interview that he did 5 years ago, 6 years ago. Especially like when he was laughing and all saying, "Yeah, there's nothing I can tell you about that." But were we in the era of Me Too and Time's Up in that time? But then again, he's like, you know what? Yeah, there's things I can't tell you. And Diddy was, still in his position of power. People were not going in on him like they are now. So can we fault Ashton Kutcher in that way? I'm just asking a legitimate question because I'm trying to think of 2019 and 2018 versus 2024 and how the times shift and have changed within that 6-year period, that 5-year period, because those are 2 different time periods. It's a year apart, but you know what I'm saying. But still, it's like, but here's the thing. Now we can drag him over his support over Danny Masterson, knowing full on well that all these accusations was coming out about him, how Scientology works, how they were trying to protect him, how they had that chick from who's in Lincoln Park, how she was out there holding up, basically bullying one of the accusers during that time. So you writing that letter of support for Danny Masterson, knowing he's a full-on rapist, I get that. I feel like we can get in on him because that was recent. And that was something that played out within that time period. But with him and his association with Diddy, I know it does look bad because of that. But we have to look at it. I always try to tell people, you can't take stuff that happened 5 years ago and 20 years ago and apply it to 2024 and drag people over it. It does look bad, though, because these are 2 despicable people that Ashton is attached to. So I always try to look at it from, different points of view, and don't just try to paint everything with a broad brush. But yeah, let's move on to this photo. Look at that photo. I know he had to be. I mean, first of all, they both pretty tall. So I'm like, Ashton skinny behind jumping on top of the diddler. You think they hunched? And they said wait, so we don't need to go into what he was jailed on. We already know about the freak offs and all the other stuff. They basically said that if Ashton saw or worse participated in any of this stuff, it would sound the death knell of his career, which was already hit a lull after his defense of Danny. The word is he's terrified he'll show up on Diddy's videotapes. So they're feeling he's one of them that might be on the freak off tapes. So if you was out there doing stuff at the FOs, in the words of Oda Mae Brown, Molly, you in danger, girl. So, I'll definitely keep an eye on this story as it develops. But if it's like, if you're talking about how tight they were, it's like, now the question remains, how much did you know? So, in regards to the whole friendship thing, I still stand on what I said before. But however, now let's look at the other side. If he is privy to a lot of things that went on behind the scenes and look the other way, because, Diddy's your friend, but you fear him in a lot of ways. If you would speak out or whatever the case is, if you are privy to things that could help with the case and all these other things of that nature, then like I said, Molly, you a danger, girl. So I'll definitely keep I'll definitely keep an eye on this story as it develops. But I do want to hear what you guys think of this story. So whatever your thoughts are, hit me up in the comments down below. Okay, so let's go on in. Hayden Panettiere is back in rehab and sounds like an emergency care plan has been. Yeah, because I just knew it was something. Because the thing what happened with her brother recently, and she did an interview with People magazine, I believe, and then she was slurring her words. And then somebody said that she does not have custody of her daughter. Which I'm like, I just saw a picture with her child. So what's his name? Vladimir Klitschko or something or another. Does he have full custody? And wasn't he beating on her at one point? Why would you want to allow a woman beater, to have control, have custody of the child? And she was slurring her words and she was saying it was the medication, but I'm like, sis, boy, it probably was the medication, but also I would not be surprised if you were medicating as well as drinking on top of the medication, which I know a lot of people do. They will drink wine with their pills. And it's like, why are you taking mental health medication with and drinking alcohol? So I'm not surprised she's in rehab. Or maybe I am surprised. I'm shocked, but not surprised, I guess I should say. I was like, Hayden's in rehab? Feel bad about it, but I'm like, okay, I see why. But now, hopefully, she'll be able to pull it together and do this Scream spinoffs. I think it's a series that they're going to be doing with her. And, her Kirby Reed character and the whole... that whole situation with that and the killers and all this. So I don't know what direction they plan on going in that, but I know they're probably going to do remember that show The Following that used to come on with Kevin Bacon on Fox? I'm hoping that they go in a direction like that with that series. She plays they probably do like this cult of killers, and then she's basically an FBI agent that is trying to stop them or something or another. That would be a cool idea that they would do with that whole story. The Following was a good damn show. It lasted 2 seasons. I just feel like it was on the wrong damn network. So the one thing I will say about Fox, y'all definitely took risks back in the day in regards of like the quality or type of shows that y'all put on. It was just too bold and ambitious for network television. Now that we have streaming and things of that nature, I really feel like that type of show was before its time, and it would definitely have worked if it came out on a streaming service. So you said Hayden relapsed due to, I was saying like she's got a lot of hopefully, I don't know. I'll have to look into that whole story to hear if there's any story where they're talking about Paramount is going to cancel the Kirby Reed franchise. I do feel like if she goes into rehab and gets the help that she needs and pulls it together, because Ms. Mamas, if you're going to be number one on the call sheet, you better pull it together. Because this is big, especially for your career. And I like Hayden Panettiere, but this is a good opportunity for you. Don't mess it up. And he said evidence is really piling up against creepy Ashton. Well, we'll see. They state she might not be able to act anymore. She has taste in horrible men and stuff. Well, look, so does Jennifer Lopez, but that didn't stop her. Um, the one guy she was married to, she didn't want to move to Ukraine. That led everything. She lost her kid. Okay, so she did lose her child. It's a hater also wanted to be family only, no friends until one guy is gone and is in rehab for sex addiction, alcoholism, and drugs. Looked like 3 years to deal with. Well, here's the thing. I don't know how she, as petite as she is, she allowed all that man to jump on her. So you know when he put his penis in her, it probably came at the top of her head. Because I'm like, that's what I be thinking when you be seeing these old tall, when you see these ginormous men, when they be getting these little petite girls, you probably stretch her walls to the hilt. Well, look, child, she's a mess. There's an Ashton connected to. Oh, you think they didn't know about Diddy, child? This is a big human trafficking ring. And I'm sure a lot of celebrities is involved with that. And so they said, rumor has it either Taylor or Harry Styles will surprise drop on the 18th. The lead single to HS4 or Reputation, Taylor's version announcement, Shawn and Joe Jonas pushed back their albums. So you think the reason why Shawn Mendes probably pushed back his album and the reason why Joe Jonas pushed back his album is because Taylor Swift's about to drop her music? I mean, look, I hate to do this, but Normani could put out an album against Joe Jonas and Shawn Mendes and they'd still flop. So it doesn't matter who they go up against. Nobody cares about Shawn Mendes' music at this point, and nobody cares about Joe Jonas as a solo act. I would rather Nick Jonas release the music before a Joe Jonas album. Like, to me, Joe Jonas works better. Joe and Kevin, they work better working with other people or as a part of a band or whatever. Like Joe Jonas at one point, didn't he have like what was that group that he wasn't it Cake by the Ocean was Joe Jonas, but he was a part of an ensemble, right? I'm trying to remember. So why don't he works better as that rather than a solo. You're not solo material. I mean, he's cute to look and he got a nice butt. I've seen it. But as a solo act, no. And then at one point, they were trying to make Nick like this, with the queer baiting and trying to make him like a hotter, because no shade, he is hotter, a hotter Justin Timberlake. He worked as a solo act. I just don't feel like he truly invested in solo music as he should have. Or maybe they didn't push him enough. Or maybe he didn't bring his knee pads to the meeting. I don't know. But I like some of Nick's music. I just don't feel like he took it as far as he could with it. But Taylor, girl, I love you, but I need a break. Like, you just, like, I get it with the Eras Tour and every other day you're in the news because of Travis Kelce. More music. Like, we got it. You're a billionaire. You don't have to work as hard anymore, sis. But then also they had what's his name pushing back his album, Shawn Mendes, because it's like, oh yeah, we need more ideas and creative, blah blah blah. I was like, you release a bunch of singles, they went nowhere, nobody cared. Your label was pushing for you. You already got a strike against your fans because you canceled your previous tour due to mental health issues. And I get it. If you have mental health things, I totally get it. This was like right after the pandemic. People were able to tour again. And then I will agree that post-pandemic, there is still a lot of that trauma. Because I remember pre-pandemic, I was good. I could go out to clubs. I could do it. I was going out. I was hanging out all the time. And I noticed post-pandemic, so I'm not going to go too hard on him on that. Because post-pandemic, I would buy tickets to concerts and literally I would just not go because I didn't realize I was having panic attacks. Like, I could not be in public places with certain, at a certain time. So I really feel like now I'm starting to slowly come out of that. What really helped me come out of that, what forced me, was going to that Madonna concert, because I was like, all that money I spent, that forced me to go and be in a public setting. And now, like, in the place that I work with live music and like working in live music and entertainment, that has forced me to overcome a lot of those traumas. So beforehand, like post-pandemic, I do realize that a lot of us have been low-key dealing with a lot of trauma and mental health issues and things of that nature. So I'm not going to go too hard. So I totally get why he had to cancel and he was dealing with a lot. But in regards to the music, it's like, yeah, them singles that he released, Shawn Mendes, we talking about, it's like, sir, I don't care how many times you take off your shirt. And yeah, you are good to look at. But if the music ain't serving, you can only take off your clothes so damn much. At this point, you just going to have to show me some hole or something. Like, I mean, even though that still wouldn't get me to, to listen to your music, but I'm like, you have to do a little something more to get people interested. And I was like, what would he need to do? Like, maybe you need to take more of a Benson Boone approach. Like, to me, he's got what it takes. So you could just move to the side and let him just do whatever. Like, I need a Harry Styles type of vibe from you. I need a Benson Boone. Like, I need something. Because you just sitting there strumming your pain with your fingers. That ain't enough. Oh, wait, I didn't read you. You said Fox should do a remake of Scream featuring clips of the noises coming from the background. He said Gaga is also supposed to be dropping this month. Oh, yeah, we're going to be talking about Gaga in a minute. I just saw on TikTok, but no one else is dropping that day, and Taylor is back touring in America starting on the 18th. You said, yeah, Nick is definitely hotter. And you said Taylor needs to get knocked up. And, well, look, that's what Lady Gaga trying to do with this next era. She want to be able to spread her legs and get knocked up. That's why she's trying to give a lot of y'all, you know, some stuff so y'all can leave her alone and she could take a couple of years off and be a mom. Whereas Taylor Swift, I do think at this point, yeah, you're a billionaire. You pretty much solidified yourself. At this point, after this whole era, the era, yeah, take some time off. You can release your Taylor's versions of your old previous stuff and pop up here and there. But yeah, at this point, yeah, let Travis drop some sperm up in you. Now, don't think I'm trying to sound like Elon Musk or whatever, his ugly ass. But I'm just saying, like, at this point, yeah, go and be a mom if you want to, and just take some time and do that. You'll still have music to come back to if you need it. Now, speaking of you know, messy pop stars, let's get into Miss Katy Perry. So, you know, there's been stories that's been coming out that we have talked about, like she's been placing blame on a lot of people. I feel like we talked about that a couple of weeks ago, that she was placing blame on a bunch of people in regards of like what went wrong with the 143 era. And how she was blaming everybody but herself. But the latest is she blaming Orlando Bloom because she was listening to him in regards of like trying to be more risque and up in the ante with her sexuality and being, you know, losing the weight and wearing like a lot of scantily clad clothes, which she kind of really wasn't doing back in the day. Yeah, she would dress up and do like a lot of the crazy kooky outfits, but now she's like, because she's 40, she's trying to up the ante with the sex. And there's nothing wrong with being sexy. If you still feel a way about, you know, if you're feeling like you're in your sexy era, you should be able to show that off. I feel like if you got it, flaunt it at any age. I don't feel like that, and you know, and once you hit 40, you're supposed to wither away and die and be demure. I don't know what planet y'all trying to. If that's what you want to do, then go move to England and be posh, not spice, but posh. Just be posh in general. So they basically saying that Katy Perry's risque appearances at her recent comeback gigs have friends rolling their eyes in a big way and blaming sex-obsessed fiance Orlando Bloom for cheapening her look. Not cheapening her look. A family friend of the couple and industry insider exclusively tells Life in Style, saying it's actually a little scary that Katie's decision to return to her sex appeal roots has fallen flat with her fans, the source says. It's all but admitted that this was something Orlando wanted her to try, but that doesn't make the bad reviews and who cares response from the industry any easier to swallow. So then whose idea was, since you want to blame that on Orlando, which I don't think that's a bad thing. If he wants her to be sexy and he's horny. If he's feeling horny and stuff, then I mean he can always hunch her. That's his woman. But who's to blame for her getting back with Dr. Luke? So when we get into that part, because it's easier to sit up in here and blame Orlando, but whose fault was it that she decided to go back to working with Dr. Luke? So they also said that the Dark Horse singer released her latest album, 143, on September 20th to overwhelmingly negative reviews, throwing cold water on Katie's high hopes of a roaring career resurgence. I saw what you did there. The theme of the album featured heavy feminist messaging that many felt was undercut by the pop star's choice of collaborators, chiefly the controversial producer Dr. Luke. But I'm going to have to disagree with them there. They're saying that it was featured a heavy feminist message, but I don't think having Dr. Luke is a part of the problem in regards of having someone like him produce that song, especially when he's been accused of assaulting Kesha. But that's the small part of it. The problem was the message. And we all know that Katy has never been a girl who's deep. She was trying to do, okay, your whole idea of feminism, I'm like, where is the cultural references? And I'm not saying just dress up as, as a feminist or Rosie the Riveter. I'm not saying that you got to do all of that. An outfit change is going to show, oh, yeah, I'm a feminist. It's like, but where's the actual reference of showing women it's a woman's world and you're just living in it? It's like, no, you're not a woman just living in a woman's world and we're just living in it. We live in a world full of misogynist people. The world is ran by men, misogynistic men, toxic men, and women have been proven to be the backbone in a lot of ways. So if you really want to tap into women's contributions to the world, you could have dug a little deeper than what you gave in that music video and them AI scripted lyrics. So that's where the complaint is. So we could easily go in and blame Dr. Luke. And I'm not saying he's innocent in this because he is getting part of the blame. But we also got to blame what were them cheap lyrics and the overall idea behind, like, what were you trying to tell us aesthetically? Like, what is this era? We still have no idea what it was that we're trying to give us. I think we got a piece of the era sort of matching whatever the visuals were with the album when we saw the VMA performance. I'm like, okay, so we're getting kind of that futuristic vibe. Now we're getting it. But we weren't getting it from the videos. Or maybe we did get it from the I'm His, He's Mine thing that she did with Doechii. But still, the songs were lackluster. I listened to the record. I've heard people sit there and say, oh, yeah, it's a great record. I'm like, are y'all hearing the same shit I'm hearing? Because there was no evolution in regards to what Katy Perry was giving with this music. It sounded like the stuff that she gave us already, early aspects of her career during the Teenage Dream era and all that other stuff. There's no evolution in what she's doing. When you look at many artists who you look at, a Madonna, a Lady Gaga, all those type of girls, they've evolved. I mean, Rihanna, the girl, let's talk about the girl she came up with. The Rihannas, the Lady Gagas, even Nicki Minaj. But Nicki Minaj is a rapper, but she's evolved with her sound over the years. Like I said, Lady Gaga's constantly evolved with her sound. Rihanna always constantly changed and evolved. Beyonce, every album she changed up her sound once she started doing Lemonade and she started experimenting and doing different things. So but when you look at Katy Perry, I just feel like this album was basically, oh, let me just remind everybody that, oh yeah, I'm here too. Hey, hi, I'm here. I still make music. I still do things. I still, I can still deliver a hit. Then we listen to it. I'm like, what the fuck is this? You didn't evolve your sound in any way. What do you as an artist, the thing you have to look at is, what is it that I have to say in 2024 that I have not already said? Where do I fit in this pop music landscape as a woman who's 39, about to hit 40, and you already know how this industry treats women once you get to be a certain age? I'll even throw Kylie Minogue in there. Kylie Minogue, her foundation's always been dance music, but she constantly challenges herself and evolves her sound, especially the songs that we've heard lately. And she's finally getting her just due. Damn near 40 years in the game, she finally getting her just due in America. Goes to show how slow this damn country is. So they also went on to say that while that may have left fans with a bad taste in their mouths, more criticism against the album piled up, which amounted to the general consensus that Katy's music had failed to evolve in the decades since she last dominated the charts. The album's hit single, Woman's World, stalled at number 63 on the Billboard Hot 100. It's a hard fall for an artist that has more diamond singles that have sold over 10 million units, than any other singer besides Rihanna at 6. With new pop queens to contend with most of the current cultural domination of Taylor Swift, the insider says Katy just isn't holding her own when it comes to making her hit songs anymore. Saying her entire category, I'm going to say Cadillac, her entire category of radio pop hits in the shadow of Taylor Swift at the moment, and Katy was foolish to think she could be the exception to the rule. So it's back to the drawing board, and hopefully this time she will take less of Orlando's advice and not more of it. Well, here's the thing. Why are you taking advice from someone who knows nothing about music? Orlando was an actor. Well, barely that, because he ain't really been in much of anything. I did see that he was in some movie that I saw was recently on Hulu, but it wasn't in no theater. So how are you taking advice from someone who barely has a career to begin with, trying to tell you what to do with music? And it's no shade. I'm just saying. Because Orlando's career never really popped off the way it should have. But they said the insider suggests that Katy looked back at what made her a household name in the late 2000s and early 2010s. No, that's the issue. Stop looking back at what made you a household name. Because what you did was you create a bunch of songs that look back at that time. They didn't work. It has nothing to do with Orlando trying to tell her to sex up her appeal. The songs she went and did that kind of went back and she was looking for those hits, which is why she got back with Dr. Luke to begin with. So she could look back at what she did back in the day and bring that into 2024. The problem is the songs, when you listen to them, sound like something that came out of the late 2000s and the early 2010s. She hasn't evolved her sound. She hasn't evolved with the lyrics. She thought the same thing that she did back in the 2010s and the 2000s was going to work in 2024. People's taste in music has evolved. A lot of that fan base that she once had, they've grown up. Their music styles have changed. It's matured. The people who are doing the similar thing to what Katy Perry was doing back in the day, Chaperone and Sabrina Carpenter, the difference is they've matured. They have something to say with what's in the lyrics and what's in the music. I'll even throw Zara Larsson in there. She may not be a household name over here, but she's doing a lot of the similar things that Katy Perry was doing, except there's substance to what she's saying and doing in her music. So, no shade, life and style, but this person that you had up in here that's giving this advice, don't listen to them. They don't know what the hell they talking about. So they also said that Katy's strongest work, like her mega hit Raw, was popular because of the songwriting, not the videos, and certainly, well, the videos did help. But they said not the videos and certainly not her skimpy outfits. When she has the right collaboration with a songwriter, she is still capable of making hit music. What she doesn't have is, and this is why I think is very important, what she doesn't have is an extremely loyal songwriting collaborator like Billie Eilish has with her brother Phineas or Taylor has with Jack Antonoff. Well, child, according to the people, they don't like when Taylor collaborates with Jack Antonoff. They like when she does her other stuff. But I get what you mean. What Katy Perry does need, and I always say this is what actually helps. When you are an artist, you definitely need your Justin Tranter. You definitely need your Julia Michaels. You definitely like Troye Sivan. Troye Sivan is someone who has Leland. You definitely need someone who fits in that category and can deliver on that versus Katy Perry just working with a bunch of people. You got 6-7 writers, and I'm like, this is a 2.5 minute song. I'm like, first of all, you needed 8 people to come up with this trash. You needed somebody to come up. What did y'all just each write a word or every other word? Y'all collaborated with it. This is what y'all giving? But I totally know what they mean in regards to that. Say what you want about Jack Antonoff, but yes, he does give what needs to be given in regards to with Taylor Swift. So his collaboration with her is mixed. But for the most part, I do think like the gold standard would be Billie Eilish and Phineas, who, and by the way, I'm working her shows next week. So I'm actually looking forward to working Billie Eilish's live shows. So I definitely agree with that. Like, Katy, if you want to step it up in regards to things, you definitely need someone that you can connect with that is really good with songwriting, that you can bounce ideas off of and that truly understands and knows your personality and be like, I don't know if that's a good idea. Let's try this. And then, oh yeah, I like that idea. Let's run with this. So it's like you need somebody that can be honest, give you honest feedback, and that you can keep in your war chest that you get along with and that you can invest in a lifetime relationship with. And I know those are hard to come by, but I do kind of agree with that. They say that she likes to work with a lot of different people instead of just 1 or 2 writers or producers. But Billie and Phineas have shown how a creative partnership can grow and deepen over multiple album cycles and continue to yield hits. Well, Billie and Phineas are related, so that also is a thing that helps. But I do agree with this. Now, if you want to work with a lot of different people, work with a lot of different producers. But as far as a songwriting goes, my core people, one or two people, I'm like, this is my core writers. These are the ideas that I have. Sonically, we can experiment and work with other people. But as far as like the foundation, which the foundation should always be lyrics first. But then again, you do need inspiration and things like the other. So some people work different. Some people will hear a melody, some people will hear the music, and they can write to it. But it's like if you have your I want to work with this producer, that producer, you pick one or two producers. But if you have your core foundation, which is like my one or two writers, that we all just work together and we come up with things, and then you want to experiment with other sounds, like Charlie does with A.G. Cook, that's her go-to. Then you do that. But for the most part, it's like look, that's all the advice I'm gonna give you at this point. See, I wasn't gonna throw complete shade. I gave you some advice on what you need to do. So I say all this to say, what do y'all think of this story? And what do you suggest that she does she works with? I don't know if we could necessarily blame Orlando. Maybe he was giving her advice here and there, but I also feel like the fish rots at the head. So she the one that got to take this L on this situation. She the one that decided to work with Dr. Luke. She's the one that stood 10 toes down in many of her interviews in regards to the decisions that she was making regarding putting this album together. So I don't care what a lot of these in-styles, these radar onlines, whoever want to come out with their stories regarding her. She's the one at the end of the day who decides when her name is on the marquee who she wants to work with. So if she want to listen to these people and she want to be stubborn, as we've talked about in the past, in regards of who she wants to work with and why she decided to work with certain people on this record, and she's admitted it out of her own mouth, then she's got to take the L on this. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. Okay, now speaking of comments, let's get to what the people said. You said Onyx, take this back. Tension 2 comes out next Friday. Well, first of all, it needs to you talking about because you said nothing's coming out on the 18th. But yeah, Tension 2 does come out next week. And then Brat, the remix album, came out today, which I was saying earlier that I didn't really get to listen to it yet, but I did listen to the Sympathy as a Knife single. So doing them overall thoughts, you're just gonna have to rewind the show all the way back to the beginning. But I'll say it's like I just didn't think Ariana Grande needed to be on it. She served no purpose. Kind of like Mariah Carey didn't serve a purpose on that Yes and remix, except unnecessarily high vocals that didn't match with what they were putting together. But yeah, Tension 2 comes out next Friday. I'm actually excited for it, but I'm really hoping that the leaks don't happen. And you said, like the video I sent you, this came out in 2010. We be happy, but Women's World in 2024. With the nightmarish reality of a Trump presidency, is not that time, but when Obama was president. But yeah, the way Trump out here getting laughed at by Andrew Schultz on his own show because he's still trying to get that young man vote. I'm like, you already got your voters. Who are you trying to go after? The same people that are already going to vote for you is going to vote for you. So you going on Andrew Schultz or Logan Paul and all their shows and Theo Vaughn, you going on their shows. How's that helping you? And then had the nerve to go to Detroit and insult the people in Detroit. I'm surprised Eminem ain't come out with a diss track cussing his behind out yet. Because you dissing his city. You know, them little white kids, they love Eminem. Women's World would have been a celebratory anthem. Yeah, probably would have, because nobody wouldn't have been thinking too deep into them lyrics. No evolution, no vision, no inspiration. Absolutely. Not just an ignorant chicken head. And you said Katy often gets compared to Gaga, and Gaga has evolved both. She is, you said both No Shade to Gaga peaked in the early 2010s, but Gaga today won't make a song that sounds like it would have been on Art Pop or Born This Way. Yeah, that's true. It's like, yeah, she did. No, I don't feel like it's shade to say somebody peaked. There are people who have their peak moments, but it's like Gaga has still managed to maintain a career, even though she did peak in the early 2010s with, you know, Born This. Well, I'd say Born This Way was like the peak moment. Well, you know, we had The Fame and the Fame Monster, which, you know, great companion records. Now it's just the Fame Monster, and you get everything put together. But then because I have that on my phone. On my Apple Music, it's just basically the Fame Monster. All the songs is pretty much lumped in one thing. Whereas I do have on CD the Fame and the Fame Monster. But yeah, she has evolved. So regardless of what people say about her, at least she does step outside of the box and tries different things. So that's why, even if you love it or hate it, because I was just talking to a friend of mine before I went live, which is one of the reasons why I was late. And he was basically telling me that he hated Harley Quinn, the album. He was like, I don't want to hear that. You ain't got that thing if you ain't got that swing, whatever how them lyrics go. It was like he just wasn't feeling the songs. I'm like, look, I like the fact that she gets an A for effort for always stepping outside her comfort zone and doing different things. I'll give her that. But people want the pop music. And once we get to the next topic, which actually is Lady Gaga, once I've gone through the comments, then we'll, I give them overall thoughts. So this said Orlando probably got. I believe there's nudes of him that exist on social. I've seen him naked. He probably, I think it is imported. But yeah, I remember there's pictures of him on a nude beach, and I've seen his penis. So they out there if you Google schmoogle. I ain't posted on here because I ain't getting demonetized or kicked off YouTube, and I have to start a whole new page, a whole new channel. Swifties are tired of Jack Adnoff. They work together. Yeah, that's why I said that. I don't think that, and this is funny because I pay so much attention to what's going on in pop music and in pop culture and the pop girlies that it's like when I'm reading this article, I'm like, no, you don't know what you're talking about. This person doesn't know what they're talking about. So it's like, that's why I was giving the advice that I gave, because it's based off instinct and stuff. It's like with me, if I was to ever be if I was ever put in a situation where I would be a pop act, that's what I would do. I'm always going to experiment with different sounds and stuff. My foundation would always be dance music and electronic music, because you could always try different things and experiment and explore that type of genre. But I would always have like maybe one or two other songwriters that we just get together, we come up with ideas, we create songs. But as far as like experimentation, that comes in the music. And I think that's what she should do. But she just wants to just keep doing the thing that makes her famous and hot. And Katy Perry is not a deep artist. And that's why, we're going to go with what Brown Bunny said. There's no evolution. There's no visual ideas, no vision. She had nothing going with this era. It's just like, you just thought you could just throw anything out there. And the gays like, nah, you ain't. Yeah, the basic gays would be saying that. But for the most part, for those of us who are music fans, music connoisseurs, and people who like music, it's like, girl, this is what you've given us in 2024. Like, you can give us better. Stop. And people stop. Can we please stop accepting and settling for mediocrity from artists? No shade. You know who I think kicked that off? Rihanna. I think she the one that kicked off. Okay, we celebrate mediocrity. Like, yeah, she gives us the songs, whatever, but then she get up on stage and perform. I'm like, nah, I know you could put your back into a little harder. You don't have, because I'm like, I know this ain't lacklusterness that you giving in the bedroom with these men. So the same energy you be giving these men when you spreading your legs, you need to give us that on stage with the singing and the dancing. Don't give us mediocrity on the stage, but you giving full on, energy, full on Reagan from The Exorcist, doing the bending in the bed. Drug, sex / human trafficking is pouring into California, Vegas, Arizona, New York, and Texas. Why they messing with Diddy? Mm-hmm. Well, I heard like it's big in Atlanta. With that's like the biggest import-export of trafficking. And that's crazy. There was a video I saw on Twitter of a CIA agent that was following this woman that was trafficking a kid. And then they were busy. And then one of the guys at the airport was like, well, why aren't y'all intervening? Why don't you say anything? And then the guy said, because of politics. I'm like, child, if that's the one big issue, it's funny how everybody wants to talk about it's the economy, the problem, and the borders. So why are we not talking about how sex trafficking is the number one issue we have in America? Why isn't that on the top of everybody's list in regards of things we need to be talking about in regards of policy? And then Kamala Harris is out here talking, well, we've been trying to we came up with a border policy, but the Republicans have been trying to veto it. They don't want to push forward with it because Trump doesn't want, he wants, he doesn't want things to go through because he wants to be able to say, oh, yeah, see, they don't have that. Things aren't being pushed because of them, but they're listening to him apparently because he got a lot of his people in a lot of these places. There's a whole bunch of, Then we got Glasses out here who got, people on vacation. while we got people in Florida, or as I like to call Florida, who are struggling because of these hurricanes. 2 of them that just went through. I got people that live in Florida that are struggling right now. So you got dumb Santis, these other people who are trying to prevent getting aid because of politics. They want to wait till after the election. I'm like, huh? So you want to let these people suffer because y'all want Trump in office, but we're going to all suffer if he get in there. Or whatever. Let's not get into politics. Let's keep it light. Let's keep talking about the entertainment news. So let's keep it moving. Let's talk about Miss Lady Gaga and this story that has been floating around about, this rumor in regards of her massive upcoming LG7 era. Because they're talking about not only are we getting LG7, but we also are going to be getting a new tour, a huge tour, as well as a greatest hits album called The Legacy of Lady Gaga. This is all rumor, by the way, so let's just entertain it. So according to the report, they said that Live Nation is hinting at not only will Lady Gaga be releasing a brand new LG7 album that's supposed to be coming out in February, but they also said that in December she's going to release a greatest hits album called The Legacy of Lady Gaga, alongside ticket bundles for the biggest tour of her career on every continent called the Legacy Ball, which is going to, I guess, take place in 2025 or 2026. They also said, according to sources, that Gaga wants to give a full robust era before taking an extended break so she can get married and focus on starting a family. So this has been a rumor that has been floating around on threads right now. So, and people are saying that it's too early in her career to release a greatest hits album. First of all, lies you tell, because I don't know who told y'all that. I'm like, there have been many, like, how long has Lady Gaga been in the industry? Since 2008, 2009? So it's about, I'll say, give or take 15. Well, she's been in the industry for a long time. But as far as like her career taking off, I would say she's been making music for 15 years. How was that too early? She's almost 2 decades in as a pop star. So why wouldn't she release a greatest hits? You know how many people have released greatest hits albums in lesser time? And she has so many songs. So why wouldn't she release a greatest hits? I would say do greatest hits, some remixes, some rarities. Like, don't just give people greatest hits and that's it. Because what do we consider a hit? Like, I don't think Lady Gaga has had a lot of hits. Let me Google real quick. How many hits does it take to get to the center of the M? No, Aaron Judge. I don't even know who that is. Oh, see, they knew as soon as I put in Lady. Okay, so they basically said, according to Billboard, Lady Gaga, first name is Stephanie Germanotta, she has 5 number 1 hits, 18 top 10 hits, and 37 songs. So, the songs that she basically has that's on that list, the Billboard Hot 100, we'll start at the bottom. So it says Telephone peaked at number 3 and spent 33 weeks on the Billboard Hot 100. The next song, Bad Romance, and this is all starting in 2009. So yeah, like I said, about 2015, because Just Dance came out in 2008. So there's about 15 years, like I said, in regards to her career. So Bad Romance peaked at number 2 and spent 35 weeks on the Billboard Hot 100 charts. Poker Face actually went to number 1. It spent 1 week at number 1. Spent 40 weeks on the charts because, it had to take that time to climb up there, but it did hit number 1. Poker Face is like one of her biggest hits, in my opinion. I feel like Just Dance and Poker Face, those are like her 2 biggest hits that she's had. So we did Poker Face. Now, number 2, it says Shallow, which, was the song that she did for The Star Is Born with her and Bradley Cooper. Spent 1 week at number 1, peaking at number 1, but it spent 45 weeks on the charts. And Just Dance, spent 3 weeks at number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100 charts, but also spent 49 weeks on the chart. So she only has 5 number 1. I mean, she has 5 hits. 5 #1 hits, like I said, 18 top 10 hits, and 37 songs. So I feel like at this point, yeah, what she needs to do is those 5 #1 hits will be on there. She'll have her top 10 songs on there, and she'll probably have to give you a lot of songs that should have been a hit, the songs that were a hit, and maybe some remixes and rarities to go along with that greatest hits record. She'll have to come up with something if it turns out to be true, when she goes with the legacy of Lady Gaga. What does that legacy look like? So it's her stitching the album together and probably give us some rarities, new music, whatever the case is. She'll figure it out if this story turns out to be true. So when people say, oh, it's too early in her career, I don't know if that's necessarily true. I do like the legacy ball idea because it's like, yeah, she does have, say what you want about her, and she has done a lot of different things, but Lady Gaga does have a legacy. She has many a different looks, regardless if you want to say she copied off of this one, that one, the other one, she does have looks. And she does have a lot of songs. And one of the things I will give Lady Gaga, she puts on a phenomenal show. So I could definitely see this whole legacy of Lady Gaga ticket, tour, bundle, whatever it is that she's coming up with, is going to be stadiums. Because her last tour, the Chromatica Ball, was a stadium tour. And I've never seen her live, but I know people who have worked her shows, and they told me that she puts on a phenomenal show. And hopefully, if she does do 2025, 2026, she will do it at one of my other stomping grounds, which is Citi Field, and I'll be able to work that show and see what she gives. And I can tell you guys my firsthand experience of what it's like to be at a Lady Gaga show. I did like the Chromatica Ball. I watched it on HBO Max. I thought it was a great show. She definitely did her thing with that. And so I do think that this is a perfect thing. And look, she's about to be 40 soon. She's like, what, 38? Next year she'll be 39. So 2025, 2026, because I believe she's a March kid, right? She was born in March, I believe. I don't think she's a Pisces. I think she might be the other, whatever. What is the other sign that comes after Pisces? Look, the only ones I know is Leo, Virgo, Capricorn, and Pisces, and Scorpio, and Sagittarius. And now I know Libra too, because Libra I know comes after Virgo. So there's a couple of them I know. I'm never really sure about, like, oh, well, I know Aquarius too, because Aquarius comes after Capricorn. And I have a cousin who's an Aquarius. I'm not really sure about like the Tauruses and all the other signs where those fall. But there's only certain ones that I really know. Oh, she's an Aries. Thank you. So Onyx put that in. But that's like after Pisces, right? So so yeah. So oh, somebody pointed out there was like Pink did it after 10 years. So yeah, 10 years in her career, she put out a that's why I'm glad that when I read the comments on Twitter and other places, that people will be like, so you trying to say it's too early? But I'm like, Pink did one 10 years into her career. So what are you talking about? So look, I say all this to say, what do y'all think of this story? I'm here for it. If she wants to release the greatest hits, then that's great. But also, she's not getting any younger. And I know Lady Gaga is an old school Italian, like, especially on her morals and beliefs, and screw her damn father, because you know what he stands on politically. And her father's an a-hole, but that ain't about him. It's about her. She's an old school Italian, girl, all about the wanting to be in a relationship, family woman, all the other stuff. And I feel like she has built enough of a foundation throughout her career and worked her behind off to where she deserves to take time off to be a mom, be a wife, and do all that stuff. And if she wants to ever come back out and do a residency or do a stadium tour or release music, she could find ways to do all of that. And I believe that she has a loyal fan base and people who will be willing to see her in these shows, that Lady Gaga has solidified herself as an icon in the music game. So she doesn't really need to continue to work as hard as like a Taylor Swift or whatever to remind y'all, hi, I'm here. I'm a billionaire. I'm making all this money. I need to keep putting out music so that when you remember I'm here. Like, she doesn't need to do that. I feel like she's put herself at a point in her career where she could just drop music at any time. Whether or not the people support it, that's on them. But if she releases this stadium tour, I think this is a good look for her if this story turns out to be true. So I say all this to say, what do y'all think of this story? Whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments down below. Okay, so you said, oh wait, let me Who says Swifties are oh yeah, we read that one already. He said Ariana dropped the greatest album during the Dangerous Woman era 3 years in, which is weird. That why did she drop? Now that was an early time. 3 years you doing the greatest hits already? He said, okay, Lil Kim. And Gaga's already done the Super Bowl too. Exactly. So what is she doesn't have anything to prove anymore. Gaga is prolific, 15 years plus, a replaced hip, an opioid problem, new Ozempic body. Okay. A filmography and a discography. She's accomplished. Oh yeah, I saw the Aries thing. Fashion icon, a seasoned performer, a visionary whose albums are focused and unique. Aries queen. The Immaculate Collection was 8 years into Madonna's career, and the bottom line, that's the ultimate best of, because it's hit after hit, and the two new songs, Justify My Love and Rescue Me, was strong and fit with Like a Virgin, Lucky Star, Vogue, and Like a Prayer. And I feel like if that's what she's going to do, she's really got to think about this rollout. It's like, yeah, you can do a greatest hits, but also give people, you done took the Madonna approach with every damn thing else. So why not just do it like she did with the Immaculate Collection? And it worked because the Immaculate Collection was a smart name, because her name was Madonna, Immaculate, Religion, and it all played it. I was like, that was a smart title to call her greatest hits album. And I love the Immaculate Collection. That is like one of the most iconic greatest hits albums. Still listen to it. But yeah, I do agree. It's like she had all her hits on it, and yeah, because in that short period of time, that album was full of hits. And then she was like, I'm gonna give y'all 2 new songs. Which was unheard of, because when you think greatest hits, that's all you expect to get. You wasn't expecting to get, I'm going to give y'all a treat and give you 2 new songs on top of the greatest hits. That'll force y'all to buy the album. And you said the only ones you didn't name were Gemini. Well, because Geminis, y'all are crazy. Okay, let me not mess with that. Gemini, Taurus, and Cancer, and Aries. So basically the late spring, summer signs. Because I was like, I know a lot of them. You know, I know my Leos, I know my Virgos, I know my Libras, I know the Capricorns, because I know a lot of Capricorns in my family, particularly my mother and sister. And I know I have another friend that's a Capricorn, but he's a December Capricorn. Britney Spears' greatest hits, My Prerogative, was 6 years into her career, and that to me is solid proof of Britney being that bitch for Queen of Millennials and 2000s pop. Well, yeah, and that was around the time when she was messing around with that Kevin Federline and out there singing Bobby Brown's song when him and Whitney was even problematic. Well, if you ask Sissy didn't like the sissies, but she went by Sissy. She ain't like the sissies and the punks. But anyway. Now, speaking of Britney, let's get into her. So we got 2 stories regarding Miss Britney. So look, word on the street is, and that's the story of the hour, they trying to say that she's struggling with her cointadas, that she's burning through her $60 million fortune. But why do I feel like every time I turn around, every couple of months, we talk about Britney burning through her money, and then it turns out she's fine? But look, let's just entertain it, because Radar Online is out here saying that Britney going broke, and that there might be a stallation in the biopic. Well, I haven't heard anything about that, but like I said, let's entertain it. So they say insiders are reportedly worried that Britney Spears is going broke with her extreme spending habits after 13 years in a conservatorship. But when she was in that conservatorship, who was up in there spending all her damn money? Jamie. Now, cash challenged, Britney Spears is desperate to get her biopic movie off and running, but with it being delayed deep into 2025, it's become a major blow to the pop star's ego and dwindling finances. This is according to Radar Online, by the way, if I didn't tell y'all that already. Said a source, she was looking at this as her saving grace, and now those hopes have been dashed. The 42-year-old singer has been burning through her $60 million fortune and is facing a financial crisis and won't be off the hook for nearly $1 million in annual child support payments for Sean, 19, and Jaden, 18, her sons with ex-Kevin Federline, until Jaden graduates high school at the end of the school year. Well, you better hope he don't get left back. Because I don't know why, but no shade. And I was going to say, we speak ill of the children, but he grown. He 18, right? Why do Britney kids give me like they get left back tease? Like y'all literally look like y'all be having issues with learning in school. But whatever. She got to keep paying that coin. And I don't know what Kevin Federline going to do when it come down to it. Like once that well runs dry, I hope you got something to fall back on. Somebody said to me that they think that Kevin Federline's going to write a tell-all book just so that way he can come out and make some money. I don't know who would buy it because you know the Britney army going to go in on him if that happens. Okay, so they said friends fear that Spears is finding new shopaholic ways to blow her cash, and a source said she was pitting her hopes on a Universal flick based on her memoir, The Woman in Me. Now, speaking of the memoir, did she get paid $25 million for that book? Did she get that and it became a New York Times bestseller? So what happened with that money? So I don't know if I'm fully buying this story. Because it's like, how do you blow through so much of that money so quickly? But I guess there's a lot of people that tend to do that. And on top of that, has she invested her money? Has she invested in other things? Does she invest in real estate? Does she invest in like the stock market and things that and the other? So I don't know what she's out here doing with her coin. If she's, spending it all up and not really investing it in other things. So they said that the Britney biopic is not on a fast track, and that is a reflection of the risk involved here and nothing more. Sure, there's a level of demand for the Britney movie. It only increases every day that she stays away from the music business and live performing. People miss her. They miss the music. The Insider added, but these movies are usually a coin flip, that for every Freddie Mercury and Elton John slam dunk, there are plenty of failures. Now, Spears, who was going on a wild spending sprees in recent years, revealed this past January she will never return to the music industry. So they're basically saying that, she hasn't made an album in 8 years, neither has Rihanna, and hasn't played a concert in 6. Neither has Rihanna, well, except for the Super Bowl. Now, they said that money is going out, but isn't coming in. So that's why I was wondering, is like, has she invested her money in other things? Because I'd be feeling like if I'm never going to come back to music, there has to be other things that I'm going to invest my stuff in order for me to get that income. Should she be producing like on the side with other movies and all this other stuff? Because look, Cher out here she produced a horror movie. So if you're not putting money into wanting to come back to music, there should be other venues that you have going. So that way you're accumulating some money and not thinking that, oh yeah, because I wrote the book, that $25 million is going to last forever when I'm paying for all this other stuff. You have to pay your taxes. You got to pay for whatever it is on that mansion you living in. And, all the bills that you have, plus your child support, plus the staff that you have working for you. I don't know if she has a chef, but we know that, she has security and all these other things that she pays. And I don't know what the relationship is with her and Paul Soliz, who we're about to get into in a second. And if he's got his fingers on her coins. But it's like ever since y'all did what y'all did to Britney with the lithium and all the other mess, I just be feeling for her that she doesn't have the right people around her and helping her. But I hope that she's not going broke. But yeah, when it comes to movies, we already have a director. John Chu is supposed to be directing. I don't know how far they've gotten the script. I don't know if, how long it's going to take for them to start shooting. We don't even know who's playing Britney. We don't even know who's playing all the characters mentioned in the book. Is there somebody who's playing Justin Timberlake? Who's playing Kevin Federline? Who's playing Britney Spears? Who's playing all the people? Who's playing her parents? And who's going to, who's playing who in there? We don't even have a casting thing set up yet. We don't know what's going on. And yeah, movies do take a while to get going. The announcement was made, but we don't even have a shooting date. We don't even have the actors set. So there's all of that goes into play. So I wish her well. I hope Britney is not struggling in the coin department. And yeah, there's that. So in regards to that story, let me know what you guys think of that in the comments down below. Now, let's go from that Britney story to another, and let's talk about this Paul Soliz relationship that she is in, because they're talking about that, people are worried about her in regards to that situation with him, the felon. So, I was like, who, I want to give a shout out to In Touch. In Touch has been busy, keeping us busy today with, the stories and stuff that we've been talking about. So let's get into that. So basically it says, Britney is totally addicted to the attention she gets on social media, and Paul is completely feeding into it. He's taken on this job as her full-time videographer and social media manager and is also encouraging her to shoot stuff, which he then edits and posts for her. It's the last thing she needs, but he's feeding her ego and making himself indispensable in her eyes. Well, here's the thing. If he is dealing with her social media, girl, you need to fire him, because I don't know what it is, this mess that you've been putting on your Instagram. And what's the point of having him be your videographer and putting stuff up on it if this story turns out to be true? Because the faster you put it up there, the faster you take it down. Which is why a lot of times when things come out about Britney and videos and stuff, I always have to leave that window open so that way the next time I do my show, I can bring all the evidence, because I already know the faster I see it, the next day I wake up, the video ain't there no more. So they also said that Britney, who's 42, and Paul, who's 37, first met when he worked as her housekeeper, and then friendship turned romantical in 2023 following her split from ex-husband Sam Asghari. Things between them seemed to fizzle out months after it began, though they rekindled their relationship in April, and they were spotted driving in Southern California. And then she went and did that video talking about I'm over man, F man, blah, 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 so on and so forth. Then the wife was like, here Britney goes, sleeping with my man when we in a relationship. Ain't the first time she did that, because remember, she did it with Kevin Federline. And what happened? 2 kids came out of it. And now she's paying him $1 million to take care of them children. So then they also said, and let's also not forget, they made headlines in May when they had the massive fight at the Chateau Marmont. And Britney and Paul, who has been charged with multiple misdemeanors that were later dropped and at least one felony in the past, were photographed leaving the property, where she had a pillow over her boobs, the hair was disheveled, the eyes looked dark, was given Art the Clown tease, real dark, real sinister. Like she wasn't, the eyes and the soul was attached from the body. Like Britney didn't look present. And she was out in the street with no damn shoes on her feet, wearing them Gerber diaper panties. So I hope he's not been the one that's having her out there in them little bikinis, twirling in the foyer with them ugly brown shoes. So they also said, oh yeah, that's it. And it was just talking about how she exited the venue without shoes. And it's funny, I was commenting on it, and yes, everything I know that comes out of my mouth always sounds like a damn read. But that's what they said it in the article. And now I said it, and then I'm reading the article as the way I'm gonna go next, and I'm seeing that they mentioned it. So they also said Britney declared that she was single on July 7th and said she wouldn't be with another man for the rest of her life. But girl, we already know you have a sex addiction. You like penis a little too much for you to sit up here and talk about you ain't gonna be with another man. You was in your feelings. You was caught up in the moment. You was feeling the way, and you just need to take a beat. Because now people gonna be like, okay, sis, now what happened? Now you sit out here saying you won't be with another man, and here you go, back with the same man that's giving you problems. So Paul's estranged wife, Nicole Mancilla, also filed for divorce after 8 years of marriage. Because like Kevin Federline, he saw her and hit a gold mine. And she too damn trusting. Or is it that because she's been high on lithium due to the conservatorship, her judgment has really gone out the door in regards to who she should be surrounding herself with? Now, according to In Touch source, Britney and Paul are binging on booze and junk food and staying up all night together, which means she often sleeps into the middle of the day. A lot of her household staff have been driven off because they can't stand him. Her brother Brian Spears has tried to convince Britney to get rid of Paul, the source says. A few times she's briefly listened and dumped the guy, but he always weasels his way back in. She's now putting him first and pushing Brian and other people that truly care about her away. She swears that this is what she wants. It's very worrying to obvious reasons, not least because Paul is a terrible track record and a history of dealing drugs. If she doesn't snap out of this and realize he's not good for her, this isn't going to end well. There's just no way around it. Now in July, a separate source also told In Touch that Britney's 47-year-old brother wants the pop star to distance herself from the toxic people in her life, saying he wants her to see her inner circle totally wiped clean. And then Brian opened her eyes to Paul's terrible rap sheet, including a 2004 meth conviction. Child. Now, there was rumors running around there that Britney was doing that type of stuff. So hopefully you not get with him because he has access to getting you what you need. So I have to say, I worry about Britney a lot as well. And I know that we always look at this girl as like, oh, she's the poor little Southern girl from Louisiana and she doesn't know better. And she keeps surrounding herself with toxic people and all that other mess. But here's the thing. Britney is grown. She's in her 40s. At this point, if y'all wanted her free, y'all wanted her to be able to have total autonomy over herself and her decisions. And I always say, be careful what you wish for because you just might get it. And so if this is what she wants, then, whether you want to go along with it or not, let her have what she wants. But if you genuinely care about her, like Brian has been trying to give her the wherewithal to be able to do what she needs to do, then just be a listening ear, be there for her. And when the shit finally hits the fan, then you could be like, not I told you so, because nobody wants you to throw the salt on the wound. But just be a listening ear and just be like, okay, so we got to find a way to keep this man out of your peripheral view. Keep him away because he is bad for you. He is toxic. He's no good for you. And but when you talk about trying to Britney wiping her entire slate clean, I understand at another point in her position because she is one of the biggest famous pop stars in the world. I know it's got to be hard for her to make friends, to make new friends, to trust people, because it's like everybody, it seems like when they get attached to Britney has ulterior motives. So I don't know. It's something about her and her energy that she tends to attract the wrong people. So I don't know at this point. I just feel like, you know what? You got to y'all want her free. Y'all want her to make the decisions on her own. You just got to stand idly by and let it happen and just wish her well. And hope and pray that she comes to her senses. And for those who genuinely care about her, just keep your friends close and enemies closer. That's all I can say on that. And then just like hope and pray that you could be there when he shows his behind again and find a way to just get him out of her life for good. Because I genuinely felt like Sam was good for her, but I feel like I wouldn't be surprised she messed that up. Because remember, there was cheating allegations that apparently she cheated on him. But I think what they were saying that she allegedly cheated on him with Paul. So I say, I'll just say, what do y'all think of this story? I don't particularly care for Paul, but look, like I said, Britney grown. She gonna be able to. Y'all want her free. You want her out of conservatorship. And don't get me wrong, the conservatorship was the way that the things they did to her, inhumane. However, when you got issues of mental health and all stuff, she needs some kind of restriction security, somebody there to really have her best interest at heart and trying to protect her from these people that she keeps inviting into her inner circle. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. Ooh, so let me adjust because it's like I feel like I was slouching a little bit. Who says so, Lisa? I can't with you. Okay. Oh, she probably got that. Look, I just hope if he got the foreskin, if he's imported, as I like to call it, he better keep it clean because nobody likes a smelly turtleneck. Okay, so we actually have 3 more topics to go, and then we are done with today's show. So I was going to say we're at the halfway point. Well, I think we're beyond the halfway point. So if you have not already, please hit that like button and the subscribe button. Also, be sure to smash the notification button if you have not already, so that way you know when we go live with a brand new episode of Chris Avalon Unfiltered. Please and thank you. Now, without further ado, let's get into Britney's ex, Justin Timberlake. Speaking of exes, let's get into him because word on the street, let's say Lord. It might be Lord for this conversation, but word on the street is Justin up here back to his old tricks again, laying it low and spreading it wide behind Jessica Biel back. But then again, you know what? She a groupie her damn self, so you brought this upon yourself, sis. So I really don't feel bad for her. So I was like, as a wise woman once said, don't cry for her, Argentina. Now, Justin Timberlake's marriage to Jessica Biel is reportedly in crisis after the singer canceled a concert shortly after revelations that he was with a female friend the night of his DUI arrest. Well, the reason what I had heard that the reason why he canceled the Newark, New Jersey date earlier this week is because he said he had an injury. But then the rumors was floating around that they said hours. Well, it wasn't rumor because we did the actual math on the timing. He posted a picture on social media of him hopping up and down and spinning all around and pop dipping and spinning with his little butt buddy, his good Judy, Jimmy Fallon. They be acting like a bunch of damn high school girls when them two get together. So they was hopping up and down, spinning all around, pop dipping and spinning, and probably doing the damn duck walk while they was, hanging out. And he probably, at Justin's age, he's 43, if I'm not mistaken. So the things you was able to do, hop up in the air, and because I was trying to think of remember back in the day when you would watch old sitcoms and you see the people that would jump up in the air and they would just freeze, which I used to actually love when I would watch those shows. That's what it was kind of reminding me of with those two. But it's when you 23, you could jump up and down and stuff and don't worry about possibly pulling a hamstring or whatever the case is. But when you 43, trust and believe, all them things that you wasn't feeling, that you could just get up and your body will rebound real quick, you definitely need an extra day or two because you be feeling that pain. So he probably pulled something, probably went had to go to the doctor, see what it was, and it probably was going to be willing to do the show. But at the last second, he was like, damn, now I got to cancel. Because it was probably advised to do that, which of course pissed off a lot of his fans. And they definitely let it be known that they were pissed off. Please hold, because we're going to go over it. Let's go over to his Instagram. So basically, he put this post out, in case y'all didn't see it. Said, I'm sorry to postpone tonight's show. I have an injury that is preventing me from performing. I am so disappointed to not see you all, but I'm working to reschedule ASAP. I promise to make it up to you and give you the show y'all deserve. Thank you guys for understanding. Appreciate your support always. Signed, JT. But let's not spray some Windex on it. Okay, just for that, I'm gonna like that post. But then he goes, then somebody posted, everyone is going on 30 plus. We have full-time jobs, kids, families, etc. We had to mentally prepare to stay up late. Not mentally prepare. How old are you, sis? But I understand. Then when you got a job, a family, kids, all of that stuff, you're exhausted. You be knocked out by 10 o'clock. Not I. My bedtime is usually 2, maybe 3 o'clock in the morning, which probably is why I get up late in the mornings. Sometimes I'm up 10:30, 11 o'clock, which I woke up that late this morning. Normally I don't. I usually be up earlier than that. But today I woke up at 11. But anyway, this isn't about me. This is about, let's read Justin the Riot Act, because people in his comments was going in on him. So she said, we have to mentally prepare to stay up late, find childcare and pet sitters, take off of work to travel in 2 hours before showtime is unacceptable. And that's if you found out right away. Not everyone is checking social media. I was already there. Unbelievable. And that is true. Even me, somebody who plays in the media space, and also who is on social media. I'm not on social media 24/7. I'm doing a lot of other things. I'll jump on every now and then. I was like, let me see what's going on real quick. But if I'm traveling, if I'm on my way to a concert, whatever the case is, I'm not on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. I'm not checking things every 3 seconds. I'm not on I don't sit and plug into the matrix 24/7 as a lot of people do. So I totally get it. Another person said, people in the comments, an injury, and you want him to perform, you have absolutely lost contact with the fact that artists and people you see on TV are human beings. Another person, of course, somebody had to say this is going to ruin the tour, because he put that out there. Now people are going to post it. And then, so some people are mad about the fact that they had to cancel and all the other stuff, but there's a lot of people in here who are windmilling for him and basically said, I know you all are disappointed, but y'all act like he planned this. He's injured. Yes, it sucks, and yes, it's disappointing, but all you moms are acting like a bunch of babies. How would you feel if people were attacking your son or daughter the way you are attacking him for something out of his control? So, but look, that's what a lot of y'all are going on and saying. One person said it's BS. My friends and I were literally outside of the Prudential Center. We're all moms of little kids. We got babysitters, a car service, spent a lot of money, and we were so excited. Because, yeah, a lot of things y'all got to think about is not just the ticket. You got to pay for car fare. You also, if you're a parent, because, yeah, Justin Timberlake's fan base are mostly women. I don't know how many homosexuals like Justin Timberlake. Y'all could jump it down in the comments if you gays like him too. But in regards to the women, a lot of his fan base are his age range, 35 and up, who are married, who have children, or single mothers. Nothing wrong with that. Shout out to the single moms out there. But, but most of them are women with children. A lot of the girls that grew up listening to Justin Timberlake. That's my demographic at this point, because I grew up with Justin Timberlake. So, and like I said, we in the same age range. So, that's basically his fan base. He's not like Taylor Swift. And Taylor Swift has those Justin Timberlake fans, but also little girls. He doesn't have a bunch of 8, 9, 10-year-olds. I'm sure some of them probably go because the parent takes the kid with them, and they probably was listening to, him, Justin Timberlake music around the house. But for the most part, his demographic is 35 and up with children. So yeah, you got the car fare, which I guess when you go into Jersey, you got to pay. You either doing that New Jersey Transit, or you doing an Uber or a Lyft. That ain't cheap. And then of course, when you get to the concession, you got to buy the drinks, the food. That ain't cheap. But they didn't even get to that point. So let's just focus on the Uber or the Lyft or the New Jersey Transit, plus the ticket and all that stuff. That's a lot of money. But he had an injury. That's what he says. But according to the story, which we could finally get into, because I wanted to give y'all all of that before we got to this. So now they're basically saying that his announcement comes as it was revealed that he was enjoying the company of his ex-business partner and his wife's stylist, Esty Stanley, while he got caught drink driving. Timberlake's 12-year marriage was already stained, according to the sources, after the singer was snapped holding hands. Were they holding hands? Or was she caressing his leg while he was hanging out with Alicia Wainwright, who was on that show Raising Dion? And this is back in 2019. So they did a movie together. I don't remember the name of the movie. I've never seen it, nor do I care. I don't particularly care to see listen to Justin's music today, nor see him act in anything. He's no Ryan Gosling. So, yeah, we had to remind y'all of that. And this is back in 2019. But Esty Stanley that was the unidentified woman that he was hanging out with. But that doesn't make sense. Why, when the DUI happened over the summer, would he need to cancel a show in October because of that? I'm thinking more or less it's the injury. But yeah, this story did come out 2 days prior or 3 days prior with him in the former, makeup artist or the wife stylist. And we're not going to sit up here and try to act like that a lot of these men don't hunch women close to home. Because didn't Ben Affleck fuck the babysitter while he was married to Jennifer Garner? I meant to say hunch, but then the F word just flew right out of my mouth. Oh Lord, I can only imagine. Like, I've been trying to curb my mouth with these profanities, so I'm just hoping like I'll be able to fully monetize this show today. But anyway, so a source told Radio Online that Justin's life has been steadily unraveling since his DUI arrest. His wife is really clean living, and after he was caught holding hands on a night out with another woman, things were already strained. The arrest and the fact that he was with a female friend the night it happened has really brought things to a head. There's no way to say it, but this marriage is now in crisis. Well, quiet as it's kept, the marriage has been in crisis for a long time. Justin Timberlake has been known to be a philanderer. He's a piece of POS. He's a dick. We've always pretty much known that about him. He's a privileged white boy who has been given, who have a lot of people just rolled out the red carpet for him. And he thinks by apologizing and all that stuff that all is forgiven. It was cute back then because you were able to get away with that when you were younger. However, when you cross over 40 plus, and them same things that you was able to get away with when you was 20, maybe even 35, you can't get away with that in this era and at your big age. But Jessica Biel, remember, she was a groupie once upon a time. When she got with Justin, he was allegedly seeing another woman at the time when him and Jessica Biel started seeing each other. So her being all upset, she ain't going no damn where. Jessica Biel, trust and believe, has tolerated and put up with a lot of mess from him. And when we could sit up in here and talk about, oh, she's gonna wait. No, she's not. She will say they're gonna be friends to the end. Heidi ho. They ain't going nowhere. She's gonna be the full-on good guy doll. She ain't going nowhere. She's gonna be the Tiffany to his Chucky. Till death do they part. So they also said that the Mirror's hitmaker is currently, well, we already know he's on the Forget Tomorrow World Tour, and I'm sure that with all this drama, he would like to forget tomorrow and yesterday and the day before that. So they also said that so I don't need to read on for this because now they're going into the whole thing about the Instagram post. We already talked about that, and now they're trying to remind us about the whole thing in June. So yeah, like 4 months ago, this whole thing happened with the drunk driving. I don't understand how 4 months later, now we're all upset over this alleged stuff that's coming out and what their relationship was. What is his relationship with her makeup artist? And they said that he did business with her. What kind of business was y'all doing? Was the business you putting your peen in her poon? Was it that? So, there's that. I don't think I have anything else to offer to the conversation. So I will say this. What do y'all think of this story? Do you think there may have been some cheatation going on in regards of Justin and this woman that was mentioned, that would have been the reason why he canceled the show and he's now in crisis mode trying to save his marriage? Or was he really injured? I feel like, Justin, these rumors that's coming out, you may have to step out your house with some crutches and a boot on your foot or wherever the injury is, because you didn't say what was hurt. Did you break your arm? If you broke your arm, first of all, they could just put a headset on your damn face and you just be Britney Spears for 2 hours and not lip sync, because he actually does sing live, but you just, put the headset on and sing your songs, and then you just not going to be able to strum your guitar if you broke your arm. Or if it was the foot, I understand if you need to do choreography, but you have to change some things up, because quite as it's kept, you're no Usher when it comes to the dancing. But if you had an injury, then yeah, stay off it, let people know what it is, and debunk these stories. But I don't think Justin's going to do that. Justin just likes to act like things will roll over, and then that'll be that. So whatever your thoughts are on this story, let me know in the comments down below. Okay, so we have comments. Let's go to them. You said I voted. I got my early ballot and ready until return to. Well, yeah, I got my early ballot thing too, but I'm gonna just wait till November and vote. So, but yeah, I got my letter in the mail where they wanted me to go order the early vote ballot and all other stuff. I was like, I don't know if I want to do all that. I'm gonna go to that. First of all, New York, they ain't gonna be able to do what they do to everybody outside of New York, where they try to prevent people from voting and all that stuff. New York, they ain't getting away with that here. And you said Britney should be one of the wealthiest pop artists. They never allowed her to spend her money, so Chick was technically very frugal. I don't understand how you can. Yeah, I don't understand that either. That's why I said there's a special place in hell for Jamie. And if she never forgives him, I don't blame her, because I'm like, not all skin folk is kinfolk. And the people that's supposed to be in your life that you should trust, like your parents, and they're the ones who are the first to grift off of you and rob you blind and to put you in a whole conservatorship so they can have control over your finances, and you out here taking all of money out of her accounts that she worked hard for, and you forced her to do residencies and things that she didn't want to do. The way that they are worded her career-wise, it's unfortunate. And I know that's a strong word to use, but that's clearly what y'all did to her. And you said if people travel from other towns or out of state and got hotels flying in, then you got airfare. Oh yeah, there's that too. I forgot. Because it's like, yeah, not because we have to also think about this as well. Not everybody who goes to shows is from Jersey. Like when I'm at the Garden, when I've spoken to people in the audience, because me working there, I do have conversations with the fans. I would like, well, where you coming from, or whatever the case is, and then some people were like, oh yeah, I came in from. Who's I spoke to the other day? There was something that one came from Baltimore. You know how long of a ride that is, Baltimore to New York. So yeah, it's like people coming from Baltimore, people come from other places just to see a certain show. When you have Madonna touring and stuff, there are people who go to see her multiple shows that aren't just the New York people aren't just from New York. There's people that are coming from other countries. There's people that are from other states that are coming in to see, like following the show. So yeah, there is that we have to worry about too. I forgot to think about that too. So yeah, you got airfare and hotel accommodations. He said, I don't care for JT either, to be honest, but I know it's musket. You and all this peen talk today. I saw the Foo Fighters when Dave Grohl had a boot from injuring his foot. They kept doing the entire tour. He came out and thrown and essentially chaired on a throne and essentially chair danced and headbang. You know who also did that? Michael Jackson. Remember when Michael Jackson broke his foot and he did a performance on, I forget, one of the award shows, and he was like doing his thing, and he almost jumped up and he had to catch himself real quick because Michael, when he was in the moment, Shout out to the Virgos, because that's how we do. And he was like, put the chair out there. I'm gonna do my little, I'm gonna boo with the thing and I'm gonna sing. And Dave Grohl, say what you want about him and the cheating and all this stuff, but one of the things I will say is he is a phenomenal live performer. I worked two of his Foo Fighters shows over the summer. So he definitely gives a good show. And that's what I like about a lot of these artists. There was another artist that I saw recently also that, damn, who was it? And he was actually the headliner and did a show, broken foot and everything, had like the little, the little cart thing when you keep your foot bent backwards on it. He did that. He performed that whole show with his foot bent like that. So there's a lot of artists out here who will give you a show. It's like, okay, we're just going to have to rework some things. Y'all just going to have to, I'm just going to come out there. I'm going to still give you a show. But I'm just not going to be able to give you what I normally give. I'm not going to be able to dance. I'm not going to be able to do this stuff because I'm like, okay, so you cancel this show. How many days between that show and the next show do you have to get up on stage and perform? And if you come out with nothing on as a cast or anything, y'all have permission to cuss his behind out in the, on his page, because I do feel like he's FOS FOS, full of sugar, honey, iced tea. I had to think about that first. I was like, yeah, I did use the right acronyms. So yeah, but I call cap on that. I just feel like he's lying. Maybe there is some truth to both of it. Maybe it's the truth that he was out partying with his good Judy, Jimmy Fallon, jumping up and down, drinking, having a good time. Because when them two get together, it's a wrap. And maybe there's some truth to the whole cheating allegation. So I'm sure it all is. That's why I said it's like Dave Grohl is somebody who will not let their fans down. I remember like the first time I worked at a show, and it was a stadium show, and it was raining, and he was just like, he was willing to, he wanted to play through the rain and everything. However, it was a thunderstorm advisory, and he wasn't able to continue the show. He was going to perform outside and willing to get struck by lightning. But we, at the end of the day, you got to protect your talent. So he was not able to finish. Is what I'm trying to say. Okay, so let's move on. Let's talk about Madonna, who Rosie O'Donnell was opening up about her relationship with Madonna. So Rosie O'Donnell recently did, I told you everybody out here got a damn podcast. So apparently David Duchovny has a podcast called Fail Better, and basically talked about her close friendship with Madonna and how their friendship changed her idea of fame, saying that, once she saw that what Madonna was going through, that gave her a better perspective of fame, and saying like, I would not want to experience, like, I couldn't even imagine what she's going through. I would not want to be that level of famous. And you know what? When I've seen that growing up, I've always said that I've always kind of matched that same energy as Rosie. Is like, I would never want to be that famous. I would never want to be able to endure. I can only imagine what someone like a Madonna or Taylor Swift or somebody of that magnitude is going through. I would never want to deal with that, because it's like, how do you have a life? And you got to figure, or Beyonce is like, you become a prisoner of your own celebrity. So here's her quote. She said, to be cast in a movie, and that would be A League of Their Own, which is where they met and they became fast friends, opposite the most famous woman in the world as the best friend, right? Me and Madonna. That was like a life-changing casting session for me because it changed my whole world. That kind of fame is once a generation, you know, that kind of Elvis, the Beatles, Madonna. And to be that close to it for so long and to be able to get an opinion of what it does to the human being, though being that close to, you know, Madonna. I thought that I wanted that kind of fame, but I thought, look at how much it takes away from her. We were in an elevator and people would just say to her face, I like you better with blonde hair, because in League, they had dyed her hair brown, which is her natural hair color, by the way. And she'd be like, yeah, fuck you, you know. Well, you know, where her coming from Michigan and then also moving to New York, she was definitely going to have that New York attitude. She also went on to say, I realized how many people felt that they had the right to say whatever they wanted to her, and she just lost her humanity in the eyes of the public for being too famous. And I was like a cautionary tale, and it was like a cautionary tale in a way. Not that I ever thought I would achieve that level of fame, but that any level of fame could be as toxic and demanding. And so Rosie O'Donnell's, in my opinion, is famous in her own right. Yeah, she had a lot of success, especially when she did, you know, the Rosie O'Donnell show. But also, you know, the cutie patootie and then her crush on Tom Cruise and all that other stuff. But oh yeah, so let me pull up this photo. There's like Rosie showing a screenshot of them doing a League of Their Own together. And somebody said remake a League of Their Own movie and on Broadway. Say no. First of all, they did have a League of Their Own as a TV series. Y'all forgot? It was on Amazon Prime. It lasted, I believe, 1 season or maybe 2 seasons. Nobody watched. So I don't think we need a League of Their Own. If y'all want to if y'all can find a way to make it a musical, then that would work. But as far as like the movie, no. First of all, I forgot who directed. Was that Penny Marshall directed that? That movie is iconic. I do not feel like y'all need to remake it or touch it or anything. If y'all want to, like I said, if y'all want to give it a chance to try it as another series, y'all could do that. But the series didn't work, so let's not try that. But if you want to make a musical of the League of Their Own, like y'all do every damn thing else, or make it a movie musical, I don't know, that might be a bit of a reach. Movie musicals ain't really doing that well. Look at Joker 2 and many of the other ones that came out. So let's not make it a movie musical. But I definitely resonate with what Rosie had to say in this. It's like I said before, I would never want to experience that kind of fame. I don't know what I would do. I don't think I would have, well, if I was young at the time of when Madonna reached her level of fame, which was in her 20s and even into her mid 30s, I don't know if I would be able to, how I would handle that. I'd probably be on drugs. I'd probably be like Hayden Panettiere in a damn rehab facility. Or a lot of these artists, or Chester Bennington. But I think that would have to stem from issues that happen in your childhood that you were dealing with. Any type of traumatic things. But I don't know how Madonna's done it, because she had a lot of trauma in her childhood as well, where her mother passed away when she was young. My mother died when she was 5. She wrote it in a lyric, Mother and Father. Check it out. But anyway, so I don't know how I would feel in that whole situation, but if I could experience it vicariously through my friend being the most famous person in the world, and I could be an observer and be like, you know what? I love the fact that we're friends, but I wouldn't give anything to have what you have. I like to be fame-ish, or moderately famous, or famous to the point where it's like, yeah, y'all know who I am, but I can still come and go as I please, and I can still do the things that I want. This is why I guess I feel a way is about Chappell Moan, because she's always out here moaning and complaining about the level of fame. Maybe you need to speak to people like Madonna and so many of these other girls, which she says she has, but it don't seem like she's taking their advice, and figure out how you can navigate and deal with that sort of drama. So that's all I think I have to say on that. But I am curious to say, or hear from you all and say, what do you think of this story? Would you want to be that level of famous, or do you envy people who have that level of fame? Whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments down below. I was like, damn, how many damn things of Madonna I have open? I forgot to put up this other picture of her, but I was showing her Rosie O'Donnell, so whatever. Okay, so let's get into our final topic, and let's talk about Rocky Horror, because apparently the people's out here saying it's problematic. apparently, I should say Jay-Z, Gen Z is trying to cancel Rocky Horror. First of all, you can keep your damn hands off this movie. This movie's a classic. In fact, I might watch it tonight. It is one of my favorites. Touch me, touch me, touch me, touch me. I wanna feel dirty. Anyway, so let's get to no. I almost canceled the damn stream. Let me pay attention and stop singing Susan Sarandon's part. Anyway, so it says Halloween season, aka Gay Christmas, it damn show is upon us. A time for some of our favorite annual traditions, like bringing out the spooky decorations, putting together a sexy costume, and apparently debating whether or not the Rocky Horror Picture Show is problematic. Another year, another debate rages over the 1975 musical horror comedy's status as a timeless cult classic. Is an all-singing, all-dancing celebration of sexuality and queerness, or is it an artifact of a bygone era that perpetuates harmful stereotypes? Well, I guess because next year marks the 50th anniversary of the Rocky Horror Picture Show, I guess we'll entertain this. Sidebar, I did see a post where they was talking about that gay faces, they did a study and gay faces an actual thing. I'm like, duh, we needed a study for that? Like I've always been saying for years, like some people I'll be looking at it like, they got gay face. Like this something you could tell is how you doing. So they said, you might think we've already exhausted every single angle of this discussion, but it's been a hot topic on the internet all week. So in the words of the denizens of the Frankenstein place, let's do the time warp again. So for a quick refresher, Rocky Horror is a story of newly engaged couple Brad and Janet, played by Barry Bostwick and Susan Sarandon, both hot by the way, who get lost in a storm and are forced to seek shelter in a mysterious castle owned by mad scientist Dr. Frankenfurter, played by Tim Curry. Chaos, sexcapades, aliens, and some killer musical numbers ensue. Now, directed by Jim Sharman and based on Richard O'Brien, who also played Riff Raff, by the way, hit stage musical of the same name, is a film the film didn't create such a star in the U.S., so it definitely did not do well in 1975, but it has sustained a cult following. They have midnight screenings of it across the country. They have a dedicated fan base. Also, my friend Michael T he does a annual, they do like a Rocky Horror show or whatever, and he always plays Dr. Frankenfurter. So that was another thing that I just want to point that out as well. So, shout out to Michael T. So they said, not for nothing, a large portion of that cult following has always been queer fans who feel seen by Rocky Horror's embrace of sexual fluidity and androgyny. Especially in the 70s, the Frankenstein place was the rare space where all were welcome, from the bi-curious Brad to Janet and Frankenfurter, a self-identified sweet transvestite from transsexual Transylvania. It's probably the latter part that most of the macabre musical stand out as a product of a different time. Outdated terminology aside, a number of folks have lamented the way culture has idolized Frankenfurter, a character who behaves very, very badly, to put it mildly, and perpetuates negative stereotypes of trans people and queer folks of large. Child, y'all getting on my nerves already. At large, and is played by Tim Curry, who is a legend, but nevertheless a cis male. Well, y'all do know that we're going to have people weren't even aware of transsexuals or whatever. And as far as like having trans actors in a movie that came out 50 damn years ago. Keke Palmer put out a recent video, before I get to the rest of this, about how she's sick and tired of Gen Z trying to erase history in regards of, or trying to erase millennials or Gen X, or even boomers. Like, you do know that a time existed before y'all were born. And you can feel a way about certain things that have your certain discourses, but try to erase and talk about certain things as problematic. Yeah, maybe the terminologies back in the day were problematic. First of all, the word tranny was not seen as problematic until recently. So throughout history, it has been used. I don't think some people were using it in a negative connotation, but looking back on it, we always know when we know better, we do better. And when you say certain terms, those terms that were okay back in the day aren't used anymore because now they are seen as problematic. So they also said, can't we acknowledge a classic film's flaws without chiding people and making them feel bad for enjoying it? Not to mention one that's meant an awful lot to generations of queer people, including myself. Because when I was growing up, we didn't have a lot of people that we could look at as queer representation. One of the people that I looked up as, that I was like, I see myself in that person, whether or not you agree with some of the things that they were doing. And yes, Dr. Frankenfurter is problematic in regards of like the decisions and the things that he was doing. He's a villain of sorts, or an anti-hero, depending on how you look at it. But you see yourself in these people, and you didn't see something like a Dr. Frankenfurter and what this musical entailed back then. So when you are someone who has, in regards of queer representation, slim pickings, we gravitate towards what we can. And yeah, while people are flawed and people can be problematic in certain things, we cherry pick the things that we see and we resonate, we hold on to that while disregarding the other stuff. You know, I know it might be hard for some of you Gen Zers who live in y'all phones and stuff, but we have the ability to compartmentalize a lot of certain things. We can multitask. We're not just a one note type of situation, like how some of y'all are one vote people when it comes to your politics. We can look at the bigger picture at the end of the day. And when y'all get older, you will learn that. So a Twitter user by the name of Chickadee, are you related to Honey Boo Boo? was getting at when they posted the following a few days ago and said, is Rocky Horror problematic or trans misogynistic? Yes, it was made in 1975. You can consume and enjoy and love art that you understand is harmful. Because, and then also said, well, child, they also go by Lesbo Batman, aka the Dyke Knight. That is funny. So I also said Rocky Horror also offered a refuge for many, me included. Going to Midnight Shadows cast showings before I even knew I was queer gave me a visual vocabulary for what I was feeling. Its magic feels like a home in a lot of ways. So, like they said, like multiple things can be true at once. You can reference that people can, you know, that film, even though it's problematic, allows you a way and a safe space to explore your queerness, which if you look at the whole overall idea behind Rocky Horror, it's a safe space where these people were allowed to explore their sexuality, Brad included, who was supposed to be getting married to Susan Sarandon's Janet. He was getting into his situation, exploring his sexuality. And that's what I looked at it as overall. It's a safe space that I get to just be authentically me without judgment. So they also said that a few days later, the original post now has millions of views, thousands of quote tweets, and hundreds of replies, though it was designed to both ask and answer the question, is rock problematic and trans misogynistic? And I think that it can be both. I think it can be problematic and trans misogynistic. However, now that we know better and we do better and we've evolved and now trans people have more of a say and more visual, you know, are more visible, I should say, in the limelight, some of the things that we got wrong or cisgendered people who wrote these scripts and came up with these ideas and the right terminologies and truly understanding transness, we can do better by evolving. It's the same thing like when you look back at old films featuring Black folks. When you know better, you do better. And you evolve. The things that you look back at old Black movies is problematic. We're going to talk about Step and Fetch It and all that other stuff. And, you know, the blackface and all that, how we progress from that. Especially, and now when it comes to LGBTQIA plus stories, the same thing. So here's the thing. And like I said, it's like when Rocky Horror Picture Show, another thing is it helps you find, you know, community. Another thing I want to give you all an example of, and I'm going to wrap this up. Sleepaway Camp. I went to go see for the first time in a theater because I was basically in a fetus when Sleepaway Camp came out. So I wasn't able to go to the movies and see that film. I've never experienced it in a theater. I've seen it on streaming. I actually own the film. So when it finally when it showed over the summer at the IFC in the West Village, I actually went. And yeah, there was all different types of people in there, even trans people, queer people in general. And I love the fact that this one girl got up who looked to me like she might have been a Gen Zer. I don't know. She looked young enough that she fit the profile. And she looked and she made a comment, because I think I also talked about this in my video that I did on the film, which was on my old damn Instagram that I no longer have. I'm still mad about that. But anyway, let's move beyond. And you know, when I talked about that, basically what she said was that this movie resonated with her. So while, yeah, you could find things in there that's problematic, it's like when you're a trans person, the things that you take from those type of films, it's what you resonate with. So yeah, while you may look at it and think like, oh, it's problematic at the film's core or on the surface, I feel like that people need to sometimes take a breath. Don't be so quick to just jump online because I want to click on a like and some attention, and really do a deep dive into the thing. Is like, what is it that you're taking from this film that you resonate with, that help you deal with your overall consensus of exploring your sexuality and understanding the true root of your queerness. And I think like movies and music, but mostly movies, helps us with that. So I want to see what other comments that people were making on this. So one person said, I go see it every month. It's formed an amazing community, and the legacy of it has become acceptance and the weird, then shunning. Of course, it's problematic, but it's almost 50 years old. I don't even think it's harmful, to be quite honest, because where's the harm? The film's pansexual, non-binary, trans femme antagonist shows the straights that their sexuality and gender are fluid too. Sure, Frank kills Meatloaf, but in real life, being a Republican killed Meatloaf. Now that's funny. Another person said, 1975, I transitioned the year Rocky Horror Show came out. Rocky Horror Show was out there at the edge, but to even acknowledge trans existence was so exceptional that we could celebrate it. And that's true. Like 50 years ago, that was totally taboo that we're celebrating transness in a film. They said the theater show and later cinema nights were for many T women the first time they dared to, X-dress in public. I don't know what X-dress in public means, but whatever. Okay. Now, here's what some people said in regards of, they said the others have more of a problem with Chickadee's word choices. What about Rocky Horror is actually harmful, and what do we even mean when we call something problematic anyway? Saying, I see a trend of people labeling older LGBTQIA plus representation as problematic. I think a better term would be dated. There's a knee-jerk reaction when discussing vintage queer media that doesn't amplify how significant it was for the things that pioneered the way. Absolutely, because if it wasn't for those programs that came out before, you wouldn't be able to get where we are today in regards of how we evolved since, when you say, yeah, the terminologies, some of the things in the films were dated. Another movie I think that, people have a problem with that explores transness of sorts, and I love both of these movies, Psycho and Dress to Kill. Some people would consider those in the same way, but I feel like some of that I would categorize that in the dated category. Another person said it is very harmful to delude me into thinking that being trans would mean I own a castle with an indoor pool someday. Chill, get off my line with that. Another one said, can we stop? I can't imagine going to a movie as joyful and full of life as Rocky Horror with a live experience that is unlike anything else in the world, and spending half of the time seething at how problematic it is and wondering how much joy I'm allowed to experience. Absolutely. And then they also said, even Tim Curry added his 2 cents. Or did he? So now a popular Twitter account under the name of the 78-year-old Rocky Horror star chimed in on the hot topic, blowing the conversation up even further. But there's one very important detail that everyone seems to be missing here. Despite the fact that their handle is @NotTheTimCurry, and their bio makes it clear they are a parody page lovingly dedicated to the actor, a number of media outlets and notable people, from Ben Stiller to musician Amanda Palmer, appear to believe it's the real deal. Well, that always happens. That's kind of like when people think Pop Crave is Pooh Crave, but that's a parody page. But they said that even though it's not him, the fake Tim Curry does make a good point. So here's what he said. Tim Curry. Is the Rocky Horror problematic chat. though through a 2024 lens, of course it is. But babies, being gay was illegal in England 6 years before Rocky Horror was first staged in 73. It was brave, bold, and brilliant for its time. Look beyond the end of your own nose, just briefly, please. And that, I think, is my overall assessment. Can y'all just like stop cutting off your nose and spite your face? Can you actually look beyond, what's here in front of your face? I feel like I'm doing John Cena. It's like, can you look beyond your face or whatever? So you can get what you need to get out of the situation and look deep within the situation and realize how historical this movie was and way before its time. It's like, yeah, being gay was illegal in England not that long before the movie came out. And don't even get me started on the issues that we had to deal with in the United States in regards of LGBTQIA plus representation celebration. And especially when we had Project 2025 coming in, you got a certain orange turd who wants to roll back a lot of the things that we worked hard to get in this country progressively. So you Gen Zers that's continually trying to erase things and call things problematic, I really feel like, y'all need to use the internet for other things besides bitching and actually take the time to Google schmoogle and look into your history of what it's like to be LGBTQIA in the country and how far we have come, even though we still moving at a snail's pace, how far we have come as a people in regards of queer art and queer representation on the big and small screen. So you could feel how you want to feel about it, and you have a right to, but we've come a long way in regards of Rocky Horror, and Rocky Horror has definitely paved the way for a lot of artists to create what it is that they've created in regards of queer representation. So I say all this because we needed a minute to break all that down, and that is like one of my favorite movies. So what did you think of this story? Whatever your thought, do you think that the film is dated, problematic, whatever you want to call it? Whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments down below. Okay, so we have comments. Let's get to them. When they call Madonna a horrible friend, I'm like, Rosie and Debbie Mazur will tell you, if she has stuff to say bad to you, you probably earned it, because Madonna is actually high praised by exes. And not, damn it, Janet. You said trans sex is hot. I mean, wait, trans sex is not mean gender. Well, unless we're talking about transsexual or trans identity or gender identity and sexuality, yes, they are two different things. I said, you said it's friends problematic, yes, but I love the show anyway. I relate. Well, yeah, that was problematic in how they handled that whole trans storyline. But you said, I relate to Monica being overlooked by her family, eating the feelings, and I look at Chandler because, yeah, remember at one point she was a fat girl growing up. I remember all the stories. So, and Chandler's reaction to gay men as deep-rooted trauma. So it was like, while the jokes were the jokes, I do give Friends kudos for dealing with a lot of traumatic things that a lot of the characters were going through and incorporated that into the show. She said his father left his mom for a guy. Chandler was 8. Is he the bad guy? No. Ross, however, it's how he dealt with the trauma and is giving to his mom for being that romance novelist. And yeah, that's like, you don't realize that a lot of the sins of the parents, how that affects the children. Of his mom, one night stands, but don't cancel it because it was progressive at the time in the 90s. And yeah, I don't know, child, sometimes when you be doing a show for damn near 3 hours, like the brain be braining. But yeah, that makes sense. Cross dress, duh. Cross dress. I was like, X dress. What does that mean? Malake. Is Malake here? Malake? But that joke from Key and Peele. I was like, watching you while I'm shopping at the dollar. It's funny, you always doing something when you watching me. I'm glad to provide that comfort, though. is that even all your favorite adult stars and S workers are saying our jobs is on the line and nobody hires sex workers afterwards. Oh yeah, I saw that article. I was gonna bring that into the show, but I was like, I may have to save that for another time because I was like, this. I felt like Rocky Horror would be a perfect way to end the show. So I was like, yeah, I did see that the sex workers were clapping back at Donald Trump over the stuff that they were saying and this whole thing with Twitter and how Mark Cuban and all that stuff. But I feel like y'all not gonna sit up here and blame us on the sex workers. The fact of the matter is Elon Musk out here being a bigot and a transphobe and being homophobic and just being ignorant and there's a lot of the stuff he's saying and leaving Twitter as a cesspool, a no man's land for people to just be bigots and ignorant because it's about free speech. But if it falters on hate speech, it's not really free speech. And I feel like that's why a lot of people are trying to run behind Donald Trump because it's like, oh, he gives us permission to just be able to say what we want because we don't like that the world is evolving. We don't like that the world is changing. We don't like that the things that we were able to say and get away with a year ago, 2 years ago, 5 years ago, we can't say today. So whatever happened as human beings, us evolving and realizing that you can't just run around just being ignorant and hateful towards people or just saying whatever the hell you want to say and just want to hurt people's feelings because it makes you feel good about yourself. Meanwhile, we're seeing Donald Trump's brain deteriorating in real time. So, yeah, there's that. Oop, I always forget to take that out. So, yeah, we're at the end of the show. Thank you all for watching. Tune in next time for a brand new episode of Chris Avalon Unfiltered. I'm going to try to give you all a show over the weekend. I have a show to do tomorrow. And then Sunday, I'm supposed to hang out. But I'm going to try to see if I can give you all a show before I go actually hang out with some friends because it's been a minute since I've actually hung out with my friends and stuff. So I need to get out there and have some me time for once. But yeah, thank you all for tuning in. Thank you all who are in the comments, spewing along with me, cackling, kiki, and all the things that we do. I love you all for watching. If you have not already, please hit that like button, that subscribe button, also that notification button. So that way you know when we go live with a brand new episode of Chris Avalon Unfiltered. You guys have a great weekend. Love you, love you, love you. I see somebody was in the comments. Thank you too. So yeah, love you all. Until next time. Ciao, darlings.